Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 684. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm your host tonight. I'm joined by Brad Simons.
What's up?
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
Christopher Davis.
Y'all seen a truffle pig around here?
And Christopher Guthridge. Oh my god.
Ahoy!
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later, Christopher Davis. Or maybe that'll come up in my 4-player. Well, maybe in my 4-player minute that might come up. We'll see. But anyways, welcome back to the show. A lot has happened since, a lot has transpired since our last episode. E3 2021 was held. Believe it or not, it doesn't really feel like E3, I guess, necessarily, but an event did take place. Announcements were made. Some announcements were not made. And I think that's going to be kind of the focus of what we're going to talk about tonight. We have queued up, we have some trailers queued up. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about the big stuff. We'll talk about the glaring omissions, that kind of stuff. Just in general, though, before we jump into that, I kind of want to know what y'all think about, like, just the general format of the show this year, because
was it a format?
I guess. What blows my mind about E3 this year is they sent out stuff about, media registration and badges and some, like, quote-unquote digital show floor. Never heard a goddamn peep about it during the actual event. I don't know if anybody who actually attended that thing, or if did people just basically show up for the press conferences and that was pretty much it.
What?
I mean, Was
there a physical event? Was there like
no? There was not a physical event. There was an app, and you could register for a badge, and it would give you access to stuff in the app, I guess. Leading up to like a week before this event actually started, I didn't hear a damn thing about it. It was just press conference.
Needs our personal information. Okay, they need our updated personal information.
Yeah. So
that's why they can stay in business if they don't keep selling it.
I already had to move once. Let's not. And what's crazy is, like, you think there's no way they're going to make the same mistake they made in 2019, right? There's no way, and they didn't make the same mistakes. They made all new ones. People got kind of doxxed again. In a different way.
They innovated this year. They let people dox each other.
Exactly. So it's a little strange. But
E3 sucked, Nick. That was the answer to your question. You want us to know what we think? We think E3 sucks as this digital format only thing in a post-COVID world. Post-E3 kind of sucks, quote-unquote, world, right? Because it wasn't just COVID that made E3 what it is today, which is a show that a lot of publishers don't respect anymore. It was the combination of the two that led us here. COVID and E3 sucks led us to this year.
COVID certainly kind of nudged it along in that direction anyway, but there's already a date scheduled for next year, and supposedly next year is supposed to be like kind of a hybrid of like a physical and digital event, so who the fuck knows what that's going to look like? But it also just feels weird.
In reality, it's definitely been a hybrid of physical and digital for
a while,
several years now.
In a way,
and it's just this year it was just fully digital, and I think that kind of shone a light on A, the digital stuff kind of sucks, and B, I think this year overall, like, a lot of the announcements just weren't good announcements. And the question is that due to COVID and causing delays in production cycles, or is that due to the ESA and E3 just kind of being shitty and not?
I think it's a combination of those things for sure. I do think 2021 is the year that we will probably feel the effects of the COVID delays or whatever. The effects of COVID on game development will probably be felt most this year.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying, Nick. And that was a conversation we had while we were live. I think when me and Brad, we watched the Bethesda Microsoft one, right?
We did, yes.
Yeah, because we were talking about Elden Ring and how that's been in development for so long, and we just got the shittiest little video trailer for it. And I think that COVID has nothing to do with that. Clearly they have some sort of content that exists that's been in development for Elden Ring. If it's coming out, when did they say 11/11/22? Right?
No, you're
Wait,
saying
no,
you're
that's
thinking
Starfield.
Starfield.
That's Starfield.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I saw the word Elden Ring over there, and so I had
Yeah.
Elden Ring in my mind.
I was going to
January
say Elden Ring wasn't a
24th, I
shitty
think.
little
I was about to
trailer.
be like, somebody
Thank
break
you.
it to Nolan that it's coming out in January.
11/11/22. So a year and a half until that game comes out. You don't think they have playable video of that game going? Like it's just one of those things where COVID had nothing to do with them not showing it. Don't know why they chose not to.
I mean, honestly, it might have just been a matter of, because they have so many time slots. Like a lot of these publishers and whatnot are paying money to be featured in these press conferences, and Xbox's approach the past few years has been, let's cram as many gameplay or game announcements as we possibly can in the hour and a half that we have. And
Are we talking about Starfield now?
No, we're not.
No,
That is an example about E3 kind of being shitty this year. In my opinion, it's, like I said COVID could have been a reason, but in reality, there's no reason for a game that's been in development for that many years to not be able to show off some sort of gameplay. Like, again, I get it. It's early. It's probably not like final format. And we talked about it when we were live commentating on the show that, they are most likely trying to avoid a, what's the word? Crispy's favorite game of all time until it wasn't.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky scenario where they overpromise and underdeliver. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. But the problem is they didn't even underpromise. They Gamerbeck in chat said, like, that the Starfield trailer was almost anti-hype. Like it showed us nothing what the game is. It really didn't say anything except that give us a date. And it's like, well, last year, all we got was literally like a video of the name.
I think part of the reason this doesn't work and this shit felt very underwhelming, even though a lot of these publishers probably do have stuff to show, is because a lot of E3 is stuff shown behind closed doors, especially to press. Even the stuff that's not like official behind closed doors presentations. So this probably would have been a year that people showed Starfield, or Bethesda showed Starfield behind closed doors, but we didn't. They're not really able to do that. So
that opportunity did not present itself
because those behind closed doors presentations let them get away with the bugs and stuff that they don't want to show to the public. And right now, in a post Cyberpunk world, none of these big AAA publishers want to show off anything that looks like half baked. I think so. Yeah. That's probably why this E3 was kind of underwhelming as well.
I mean, and there's also something to be said, and we do talk a lot of trash about E3 in general as an event. I mean, it's weird. It's kind of this love-hate relationship because part of the fun of E3 is always, in our history of going, part of the fun of going is when the press conference is all over and the announcements have been made and the dust starts to settle, like going to the show floor and just running around all day and being surrounded by gaming culture and just playing new games is fucking exciting, and that was completely absent. Obviously,
that's the other thing, right? You see a trailer for like Guardians of the Galaxy, and you're like, I don't know, maybe, but that's the kind of thing you go to the show floor and say, actually, yeah, or actually, fuck no. And we couldn't do that this year, so everything was just kind of maybe.
That's the thing, Brad, with the rise of like the Steam Summer Game Fests and technology. Fucking Resident Evil 8 limited time demos are super easy to do, and it's one of those things where if they, and don't get me wrong, I understand it's not just, you can't just snap your fingers and have a limited time demo just appear on the store. I understand there's a lot of work that goes into it, but my assumption is the reason they don't is they just don't think people are going to like it, and they don't want people to shit on their game, because if people shit on their game, they're not going to buy it.
Like one specific game we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Yes, that is. So we can kind of move on from this. I just wanted to have a short general conversation about it, because obviously E3 felt very, very different. I was getting very excited leading into it. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of stuff I'm very excited for coming out of E3 this year, but it was so weird. It was kind of like wake up one morning and we watched and commentated the like Microsoft Bethesda thing, and then it's like, okay, now I have a couple hours to burn before the next thing, and I'm just gonna sit on my couch and play Ratchet and Clank or whatever for a bit. It's just it's just a totally different feeling surrounding the whole event.
Like, I don't blame Sony for not wanting to be a part of E3 because it doesn't make any sense why they should be. They could just have their own week and everyone will only talk about Sony, not Sony and the new Metroid game or whatever.
You're right. You're right. You're right. It. I mean, I definitely miss those days, and I hope this kind of like vibe, the feeling or vibe or excitement around E3 is what I like, and I hope that can be continued in some form, even if E3 kind of as we know it dies or whatever. I hope that can the spirit can live on in some form, but only time will tell. But now, I don't know how we want to do this. There's a lot of stuff to cover. Do we want to go in order of like the conferences as they happen?
I think we're going to go in order. We're going to start with what's probably going to be game of the year, and then we'll go down from there.
Okay, so you obviously want to start with what, Advance Wars? No, I'm just kidding.
No, we already talked about what we're starting with.
Advance Wars was already game of the year like 20 years ago, dude.
All right, let's start with what do you think? Breath of the Wild 2.
Yes,
we finally got we got a new taste of Breath of the Wild 2, which also is officially the working title. They have a official title that they have not yet revealed. But we got.
They said they didn't reveal it because it would give away something, is what they said.
So I would imagine it has something to do. If you look at the trailer, Link has like a weird arm. He's got like a stone, like tribal tattoo looking thing. I don't know what it is, but his right arm looks weird.
Looks like some Sheikah thing. Like
yeah. Oh, you know what? Rewind a little bit. Do you think this is even going to be called Breath of the Wild anything? Oh, rewind.
No,
Breath of the Wild.
I don't think it is. No. I don't think so.
No, this is going to be Legend of Zelda something.
Okay.
Different, but it's an obvious follow up to Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
In fact, oh, go ahead. I was just going to say the implication here is that at least part of the map is the map from Breath of the Wild, because you see him running around in like very familiar area. You see the castle and the lands surrounding Hyrule Castle. So
it's like a drastically modified version of that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell how different it is, but I guess you kind of assume that it's going to be like you're not going to go, oh, there's that same old shrine. I remember that shrine.
No, it's going to be akin to like Link to the Past Dark World. Well, you don't see it in this trailer. It doesn't mean they're not going to be there. But I'm saying I think it's akin to Link to the Past Dark World, where it's like the floor plan is very similar, but lots has changed. And yeah, the assumption is a lot's gonna take place up in the air. And you saw Link doing that weird move where all of a sudden some green thing, shot him up into some castle in the sky.
So that first trailer they showed like 2 years ago or whatever. It kind of made me think it was going to go like underground, like because it looked like it was going to be very dark and there was like this mummy and shit. But like the first thing you see in this trailer is like Link like free falling from the sky, and you can kind of see these floating islands, which honestly, and I don't mean to alarm anybody, but the first thing I thought of was Skyward Sword, which
back in the day, on a big dumb
you can't scare me. I never played that game.
But you know what? Back in the day, like the excitement around Skyward Sword was very much kind of like the promise of what Breath of the Wild delivered, right? Yeah. Like imagine the concept of Skyward Sword, but realized given all of the stuff they introduced in Breath of the Wild, like that concept suddenly seems very attainable, and maybe that's. You see him like jumping around in these islands and like digging. Are you
referring to potentially the fact that you might be able to stand on, if you're watching, the gameplay footage, you see him standing on that floating island and then just like jump off and land somewhere?
Well, dude, I mean, he already had that ability in the last game to shoot himself up in the air and like glide around. So I mean, expanding on that is like
you're gonna have so much probably gonna have like something a little more. I think you're eventually going to be flying around on something, right? I mean,
like an airplane. Like the first game, eventually you got the horse motorcycle.
How about a
motorcycle?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you think in this you're going to get some sort of actual flying? So instead of just having the hang glider, you're actually going to have like a flying device.
There were flying guardians.
Don't crucify me here, but I actually really liked the birds in Skyward Sword.
You forget.
Bring back the birds.
There's birds in Breath of the Wild.
The birds became people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like that part so much, but like the actual birds themselves are pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, this looks great.
Nick doesn't like bird people.
Wow, he likes birds, but not bird people. He thinks they should only be pets.
So Chad is talking about he has some sort of time hand. Am I missing something?
Well, there's that part in the trailer where he like freezes time and like knocks those spike balls into each other.
No, it looks like he's rewinding time, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or is that what's happening? Yeah.
And then you see water.
That's not what I guess I originally saw. Okay, interesting.
And you see him get sucked. That's the coolest thing in the trailer is when he like rewinds his body through some stone or some shit.
Is that what was going on?
It looks like it, yeah. And that's the craziest shit in the trailer. I want to know what's going on there.
I mean,
that definitely has some control over time, which has me a little nervous. I don't want to be too much like Majora's Mask or anything, but I'm curious.
But like any concept, any like shared DNA with other Zelda games is going to be automatically elevated by being in the world of Breath of the Wild with all of the physics and just free roaming and verticality of Breath of the Wild. So it's fucking exciting,
and stuff are better.
What I'm really hoping for me is what they do with the old map, how they're going to expand exploration there, because there were a lot of areas in there that just weren't fully utilized like I think they should have been. Like the jungle is a great area to explore, but other than like the dragon that showed up, there's not much else that happens there.
I mean, Chris Davis, the reason for that is most likely because this was a Wii U game.
I mean,
I keep forgetting about that.
Yes, this was a Wii U game that they ported to the Switch.
I played it.
So my assumption is they had to make it based on what the Wii U could do. So now that this game has been completely developed for the Switch, it probably will be a little more dense. Probably not extremely, because they're only going to do so much. But I'm assuming that they're going to have a little more to it than.
I'm generally assuming that the game starts out in the canyon where that temple is. So, as long as they reuse a lot of that stuff to its like fullest extent, that really excites me. Or like the armory base that you can kind of visit that's surrounded in Guardians, but there's not a whole lot to do there. It's just kind of there.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm a little. They never show. Well, at least I'm not paying attention. They never really show Link's face. So there's a lot of speculation in this trailer that maybe you're not playing as Link.
That they're showing Zelda?
No, well, the craziest thing I saw.
That's what they said about Breath of the Wild.
I'm pretty sure you're playing as Tingle.
Everyone's been going on about protagonist Zelda.
There was some bullshit. There was some bullshit. I don't think I buy into it. There's a lot of people talking about like, what if it's Ganon that you're playing as? And
but Ganondor's dead. Ganondor's dead because
but there's time travel now.
Yeah,
there's time travel now.
Kazuya Mishima dropped him into a volcano.
There's time travel now, Brad.
We're getting into some real nerd shit. You know what the point is?
What if this is a prequel?
Timelines.
So hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Skyward Sword technically the oldest canonically?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So that's what I'm saying. So what if this? Hold on, Nick. Hold on. What if this is like all floating shit? Something happens that causes everything to crash down, and that's where Breath of the Wild picks up. So maybe you are like that because at some point they show like the castle doing some shit with the ground and stuff lifting up potentially. What if that's in reverse and it's actually falling down?
I think we're going to get a lot of Braid like puzzles in this.
Well, so here's the thing about that idea that's not without merit, Nolan, because if you play the trailer in reverse, the music is actually the theme of Breath of the Wild.
What?
Are you serious? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I mean
What?
Listen, if you listen to the trailer, it sounds
fucked up.
Music, yeah.
But if you roll it back, it's the Breath of the Wild theme.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I called it here first. This is a prequel. You're playing as Tingle, and that's what's happening.
All right, okay.
Tingle.
We need to move on. We need to move
Tinkle.
on. But, Breath of the Wild 2.
Stick with Nintendo. Like Breath of the Wild 2, we're doing E3 in reverse.
Whoa.
All right, then, Brad, tell us where we go from here.
We save the best for first.
Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Whoa.
No. Do we have to?
Well, okay.
Do we have to?
Monsters.
Do you want to talk about Metroid or Advance Wars first?
Let's do Metroid.
Yeah,
Metroid. Metroid Dread. The long.
Are you dreading it, Brad?
The long teased I'm not dreading it, Nolan.
Yeah, you are.
The long teased Metroid Dread, because it was teased. The name Metroid Dread was teased a long time ago, but that version of Metroid Dread is long gone. But they brought it back. They kept it. They kept the name, which is cool because it meant a lot to fans, right? When hardcore Metroid fans, whenever saw the Metroid Dread, it was very exciting. Just the title was very exciting because it was this long teased.
Wasn't
title.
it originally? Wasn't it originally like a Game Boy Advance game?
No. Well, Metroid Dread, I think, was probably originally going to be for the DS.
Yeah,
DS. Yeah, the original DS. But yeah. So yeah, this is the new Metroid game. It's a side-scrolling Metroid game, quote unquote Metroid 5. I guess technically it's the follow-up to Fusion. Sakamoto's working on it. He considers this the mainline series, even though it's the side-scrolling one. And the Metroid Prime ones are the bigger budget ones at this point. But
sure.
I did not realize until they said it, I think during the Treehouse, I guess, but I did not realize this is the first original 2D Metroid game in 19 years. Is that what I heard?
Well, that's what they said, yeah.
That's
Fusion.
It's crazy.
Fusion was the last one.
Fusion, yeah, for the Game Boy Advance, which came out the same day.
Game anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Metroid Fusion came out the same day as Metroid Prime. Think about that.
Oh, shit.
This is where Metroid fans used to be.
Yeah.
The same day. Anyways, what was I going to say? Oh, so this is Mercury Steam developing. Obviously, there's a lot of baggage there. You know how I feel about Mercury Steam. They ruined Castlevania.
I wasn't aware.
They ruined Castlevania, killed Castlevania. Castlevania is long dead. And obviously, I was very distraught when I saw that Nintendo was handing them the reins of Metroid when they did Samus Returns for the 3DS, which was a remake of Metroid 2. And that game was fine. It wasn't my favorite Metroid game. It was not even my favorite remake of Metroid 2 that came out that year.
Can I ask you a serious question? And this is not me trolling. This is just coming at it from a different angle. My question is, did Mercury Steam ruin Castlevania, or did they try to revive it and fail?
No, they destroyed it, Nick. We can't get into that right now.
But was it already destroyed is my point. Did Konami just say fuck Castlevania?
Salted the earth!
Was it already destroyed? Is this what you're telling me?
Yeah, was it already kind of was it already dead?
I'm not talking about the fucking financials, Nick. I'm saying they made 3 bad games.
What was the third one?
Nick is really asking the question: are you more mad at the executioner who swung the axe, or are you mad at the guy who gave the axe to the executioner?
Doesn't matter, Chris Davis. But he brings up a good point that is relevant to this conversation. He doesn't realize that Mercury Steam made 3 Castlevania games. Maybe you forgot about the 3DS side-scrolling Castlevania game, Mirror of Fate, which also sucked, which had me a little scared for this, because it's like, hey, we're going to do a 2D Metroid game for handheld like we do with Castlevania, right? But that one, it missed the marks in a lot of ways. Whatever. Castlevania is dead. They fucked it up. It's gone. That's not the point. The point is the remake of Samus Returns was decent, right? It was probably the best game that Mercury Steam's ever made, but they had a blueprint, right? It was a pretty faithful, sort of faithful. I mean, they had some new ideas, but the whole premise of killing all it, they had a blueprint, right? So the question is Mercury Steam, and probably a lot of guidance from Nintendo. Sakamoto was involved. Are they able to make an original Metroid game? Well, Nintendo believes that maybe they can, right? They trusted them. Sakamoto trusted them after doing the remake justice. It's a very well-reviewed game. I think it's all right. I think it's missing the mark in a couple of ways. But now this is an original one made by Mercury Steam.
I feel like Nintendo, just in general, is maybe a little bit more willing to, or is a little less willing to give Mercury Steam complete reign. Because they're saying Sakamoto is working on this, and they're kind of working on it in tandem with an internal Nintendo team. I feel like Konami was more willing to just take it and do whatever you want with it.
Are you still talking about Castlevania?
No, I'm talking about just in general. Nintendo seems more or maybe more careful with their IP, like less trusting. Maybe
I think Nick is saying that Nintendo is maybe playing a bigger role in the development of this game.
Sure, but like
which
that's the
Konami
kind of
did
thing.
with Castlevania.
That's the kind of thing that we'll never know, right? People always like accused
Brad, I think what Nick's saying is Mercury Steam, when they had full control over their game development, it went askew and awry and ended in bad things.
But they had Hideo Kojima overseeing.
It seems that in this scenario with Metroid, Samus Returns,
right? What was it called? Samus Returns.
Nintendo obviously said, "Hey, you follow this fucking blueprint from Metroid 2.
Yeah.
Feel free." They probably had to double check with the extra stuff they added, but Nintendo was okay with it. And like you said, while it was not a 10 out of 10 game, it was a solid game.
Yeah.
Maybe similar in this one.
Faces over there. Maybe he thinks it's a 10 out of 10 game.
I'm not making faces.
Maybe similar with Metroid Dread. Mercury Steam now has a little more control over the reins. They're obviously doing something original. So
I would imagine
which is all to get to the point that this is one for me is a big question mark. I'm obviously cautious because of what they've done to my baby in the past. But we don't know
I also
yet.
will agree that I don't like the fucking weird portal enemies. The robot dogs, the Boston Dynamics robot dogs.
For the most part, I like what I've seen. But I do have some concerns, but they're like kind of superficial. I don't like that. Yeah. It looks like a ripped out a portal. It just doesn't feel Metroid, I guess. It's weird. It feels off.
Maybe this is me coming from a perspective of like I have so little history with Metroid in general that I don't recognize those oddities, because what I see actually I
you love the robot. That's fine.
I don't hate the robot, and I don't hate the suit either.
The whole concept of an unkillable enemy stalking Samus isn't a new thing. That was a thing in Metroid Fusion with SAX, and they're kind of bringing that idea back with these stalking robots, right? Which is cool because it was cool Metroid Fusion. So like, even if I think it looks dumb or if I don't like Samus's suit or whatever, the point is the game could still be good. It could still be exciting. I think it has potential to be even better than Samus Returns, but it also has potential to be worse, right? I've seen them like that side-scrolling Lords of Shadows game on 3DS looked fine at first, right? But it wasn't fine. It was not good, and we don't know yet. I watched the Treehouse Live where they played like half an hour of this. It looks fine. There's some cool stuff. Some stuff you don't even see in this trailer. Like she has like this aim that she does where it kind of goes like over the shoulder, which actually looks kind of cool. And I love how fast and smooth and like the sliding, through cracks, which is a little weird because that's, traditionally when she would go into Morph Ball, which she still has. But now she could just do a running slide through cracks and stuff. It looks like it plays well. And Samus Returns played well. It wasn't the most atmospheric, and it had some pretty uninspired bosses and stuff, whatever, but it played well. I expect this one to play well. I'm excited. It's a new Metroid game. I was going into this E3 wondering, are we going to see Metroid Prime 4? We didn't, but now I'm getting 2 Metroid games, and it really does. This is how you take the edge off of not seeing what the next big Metroid game is going to be. You give us another one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and I do want to say, just kind of offhand, I think this game has a look to it. Well, it may be divisive, I'm not sure, but it feels unique. Like the color palette they chose, there's a lot of whites being used and like lighter colors, and it doesn't necessarily feel as dark, but it also has like there's like contrast between the foreground and the background more so.
So if you go back and listen to like me talking about Samus Returns, like the one thing I really praised in that game is how good like the background environments looked, especially in 3D because it was on a 3DS. So I expect that stuff to be really good here as well. But it did lose a little bit of atmosphere. Like that was a very bright game, but it's supposed to be very alien and dark and organic, and again there was another remake of Metroid 2 that year that kind of kept some of the atmosphere of Metroid to the original Return to Samus, which is probably the most atmospheric game in that series, and Mercury Steam just said they threw it out the window. Like, remember I talked about the escape sequence where it's just you and the fucking baby Metroid escaping, but in Samus Returns you're like blasting like a million fucking enemies, and it's supposed to be like this cool atmospheric walk out to your ship, and I worry about that a little stuff, but I worry about that stuff a little bit, but now I don't have anything to compare it to now, so we'll see.
All right, we need to move on. If we're gonna stick with Nintendo, why don't we talk about we have the trailer for Mario plus Rabbids?
No.
Was that
which
we don't? Okay.
No.
Well, we can talk about
it.
We don't
the
need
trailers are weird.
Trailer.
There was the cinematic trailer, then there was some gameplay B-roll kind of.
Yeah.
So
and you know, this I think the obvious disappointment here was that it wasn't some new what do you call it? Crossover.
There was no new crossovers or anything. It's still Mario and Rabbids. They're not adding anybody new. They're not. I mean, they might be that we're not aware of. But for the actual the title of it, it is still Mario plus Rabbids. Sparks of Hope.
Yes. And you know what? It looks like. Did you just say pass?
Who did?
Chris Davis just? Oh, I thought Chris Davis just said pass, like he was like hard pass.
Mario plus Rabbids. Okay. Nobody pass on this. This is exciting because that first game was great, and it's now been 4 years.
No, it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, 2017. It was a launch.
Yeah.
It was not a launch.
It was a launch. 2017.
Yeah. It was that year, 2017. So, it seemed like it was successful, right? And it seemed like, well, maybe they're just not going to make another one. So I'm glad we finally saw it. Except if there was any sort of like sadness to this reveal, is that I think people were kind of hoping, crossing their fingers, that it would be a new Nintendo crossover, right?
Yeah,
like maybe like Zelda and Rabbids or whatever, or anything, right?
Yeah.
But it's Mario and Rabbids again, and that's fine.
A couple of things I think are really cool. It looks very, very vibrant and looks like a crossover between, specifically, like it almost looks like a crossover between like Mario Galaxy and Rabbids. A lot of space.
Yeah, it does seem like they're focusing on space a lot more.
You love vibrant and colorful, don't you, Nick? You like your Diablos and Metroid games to be bright and colorful as well.
Sure, why not? Colors are nice. But it also kind of the glimpses of gameplay that we saw, I think, kind of implied maybe it was a little bit bigger in scope. Like the environments to me struck me very as not necessarily the exact same, but kind of like open in the same way maybe that I kind of compared it to like Bowser's Fury, but maybe not quite to that.
Maybe it's really hard to tell though. I watched that trailer a few times, and it could just be like some nice angles because you were kind of roaming around a place.
I would say, and once again, to your point, Brad, the trailer was very brief in what they did show, but the first game had very linear areas. That would lead essentially from battle to battle, and at least the glimpses we got of this game, it seemed like it was a little bit, at least wider. Who knows if it's still going to be super linear?
It almost seemed like you were encountering enemies and then jumping into like almost like an RPG. Like you hit an enemy and then the battlefield becomes.
Well, that was kind of how it was in the first game, sort of.
Was it?
Yeah, the first game was kind of like that.
Or you didn't run into enemies; you like had encounters, and then
correct.
Yeah, but you went into
approach the
battlefields was the thing.
Yeah, but I think that's how
that's how this one works too.
You want it to be right. If it's
from the trailer, it looked to me like you were going to a battle arena.
What?
It's outside of that
I did
world.
not get that.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't.
Did you play the first one, Chris Davis?
No, but I watched plenty of it.
Okay, so I'll say this though. One of my issues with the first game, Overworld, which had a lot of cool puzzles and exploration, and actually was that it didn't really feel good to move around. You weren't like running and jumping and triple jumping like you would in a Mario game. You were very locked to the ground, and that was because you were actually like controlling that little floating robot, and your little Mario Party kind of followed behind it. That thing is still in this one. If you look closely, when it kind of the camera gets close, when they're running around the world, it's again they're following that little robot, which has me thinking that maybe you're still not going to be running and jumping and doing Mario.
I don't think you're running and jumping and stuff.
I would like to though. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be nice.
We'll have to wait and see more because this is also a 2022 game. But you know what? It's still really cool, especially now because like that first time was kind of like when it was first announced. It was kind of like it looks weird, maybe it's good, and we didn't really know. And then we finally got it, and it was like, okay, this is amazing. It's nice to get an announcement and be like, I am fucking down for more.
It was actually challenging. It was actually challenging.
I was going to bring that up, Brad, that when all of us first started playing that game, the first few levels are, baby's XCOM. But then towards the end of that game, it got fucking tough. And my hope is that maybe there's less of the baby levels early on and the game just kind of starts, obviously a few levels early on will be simple to get you to learn the game. But my hope is that it goes a little bit harder, faster,
That's what
and
she
you
said.
have more fun. Yeah.
And the last thing is, for the first game, they did an expansion with Donkey Kong. That, at the very least, is like, a sign that they might do something like that again with another IP, even if they don't want to do the whole game that way. So it's exciting. I would like to see a Zelda expansion for the second game. That would be cool. Or Metroid.
Do I remember correctly that they were pitching like 9 playable characters for your party?
I think that's what they said. But there was a lot in the first one as well.
There was?
You had about 9,
Chris Davis, you should.
So you had
play that.
all your your Mario, or you had Mario, but then you had the different Rabbids, and so you had like your Peach Rabbid and Luigi Rabbid, but you also had some like other random ones too. So towards the end you had a lot of people.
Rosalina Rabbid is perfect.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
What if
they do?
It really is weird that you haven't played that game. You have a Switch, you like XCOM, you should definitely play it. It's very good.
It's a solid game. You should play it leading up to 2, the second one. What if they introduced
just play 2.
Animal Crossing Rabbids? That could be interesting.
Play Yakuza
With some like
Zero.
unique Animal Crossing like mechanics.
That that's not a bad crossover actually. I'm not. As long as it still plays like XCOM, I'll shoot some villagers.
Well, all right, we just pick up the pace a little bit.
Maybe the Easter event will be a little bit better for you, Nolan.
I'm not
talking about 4 games.
Okay, dude, 3, give me 5 minutes on Advance Wars. Not even. Okay,
5 minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Fuck yourself, Nick.
You're wasting time, Brad.
Talk about Redfall.
I bet I could do this 5 minutes.
Cinematic trailer Redfall, by the way.
Okay, I wasn't going to talk about Redfall for very long, so.
Okay, wait. This is Metroid again. I thought we had.
Brad, calm down.
Like I said, I gotta switch it in real time.
Okay. Brad, you're literally like a minute into your 5 minutes.
Metroid's still on the screen. I'm going to mention I do like her new suit, actually.
There we go.
They're doing remakes of. Well, it's a package. It's a remake of Advance Wars 1 and 2. Advance Wars has been gone since 2008. It's been 13 years, a very long time.
And we've heard about it. We've heard him request it every E3 since.
Because, it fucking deserves it, right? Intelligent Systems. Intelligent Systems once made Advance Wars and Fire Emblem, and then
I never thought in a million years that E3 2021, the terrible for all intents and purposes, the weakest E3 in years maybe would have Advance Wars come back finally. I got excited for you, Brad, when I saw that appear on screen. I don't even play Advance Wars.
Sure. And it was exciting at first. I thought it was a brand new one when the trailer first started. It wasn't. It's a remake of 1 and 2. They're games that I've played, but that's fine. It's still exciting to me. I'll take a remake over nothing in 13 years, right? And Advance Wars 1 and 2 are incredible games. This is they farmed out.
And Way Forward has a history of doing good remakes, right?
Huh?
Yeah,
Way Forward has a history of solid remakes.
Way Forward is a solid indie developer, but they do a lot of like pixel art games and stuff, and like they don't do a lot of 3D art games. And there's been a lot of like infighting amongst the very small fandom of Advance Wars, where it's been gone for 13 years, but half the Advance Wars fans are still pissed off that this isn't pixel art, that it's this 3D art.
Brad and his 11 friends are very upset.
well, it's more than that, but I mean, it's crazy, right? And the rest of us who are just so excited that it's back want to wring their fucking necks. Like, dude, shut the fuck up! It's been so long. This is all people are talking about is the art style, which is so frustrating because the art style is not going to fucking change. They're not just going to be like, oh, let's throw it all out and do some pixel art. Shut the fuck up. It's so obnoxious. If you don't want it, don't buy it. That's fine. But it's crazy not to buy it if you're an Advance Wars fan, because I have a feeling that this is kind of a test run like Samus Returns was, right? We're going to remake, we're going to bring back Metroid as a remake. If it does well, maybe we'll do another side-scrolling Metroid game. It happened. I think it could happen with this. The problem is I don't think this is going to be very successful. They're selling, it's a lot of content. It's a remake of the 1 and 2's campaign, which those are very like, meaty games. It's going to have multiplayer. But they're selling it for $60. It's two great fucking 10 out of 10 games, whatever, right? But it's still $60 to an audience that I guess didn't embrace it much in the past is a little worrisome.
I would not say that, Brad. I mean, I would say that the audience currently, probably a majority of them weren't an audience 13 years ago.
Also, remember, this was a handheld franchise. Like, if it would have been on a console, like, I'm not talking about Battalion Wars, but
Chris Davis, the Switch is handheld. Did you not know that?
I'm talking about the history of the franchise.
Well,
I get it. I will also say that the Game Boy Advance was the NES, but the Game Boy Advance is one of the best-selling consoles out there. There were plenty of Game Boy Advances out there.
This did actually really well when it was on the Game Boy Advance. It wasn't until it came out on the DS that it kind of to like wane a little bit, and then they changed the art style, made it all grimdark, and then the series died with Days of Ruin. But I will say the reason I want Advance Wars fans to stop fighting about the fucking art style is because there's a couple of things I watched the Treehouse Live that this game is doing wrong. Well, there's one major thing that this game is doing wrong, and that's that there's like a little bit of a load time when you load into the battle animations, which might sound small, but it doesn't work in a game like Advance Wars. Advance Wars is known for being very fast, very snappy, very responsive, getting into those animations, getting out, because it's not like Fire Emblem where you're moving small amounts of units around, although these days there's a lot. But in Advance Wars you have like fucking 15-20 units on the field, and the enemy does too, and they all have to take their turns, and if there's loading before those battles, you're just going to turn those animations off. So if they don't fix that, then why are we arguing about art style? Because no one's going to be looking at it anyways, because we're all going to have to turn it off because it would make this game unplayable. So what the fans should be talking about is trying to get the message out to WayForward and say, hey, like, you need to get rid of that loading. Otherwise, this shit does not fucking work. The only other thing that I ask for this game, and I tweeted at WayForward, and they say multiplayers in the game. I don't think they go into details. They say 1 to 4 players. There's Wargroove, which was a faithful Advance Wars spiritual successor indie game that came out a couple years ago, was really great. But one of the reasons it was great is because it had a multiplayer mode that was like a words with friend type asynchronous play, right? Where you can have multiple online multiplayer sessions going with different people. You can take all your turns, send them away, and you'll get like notifications. Yes, that's why I said words with friends.
That's what you said.
Oh, sorry. I missed that. Sorry.
And all your turns will come back to you when those people get to those turns, and you can have a bunch of games going with a bunch of different people. Wargroove had that, even crossplay, and it was great. That game was such a complete package, and I just went WayForward to make sure they're looking at that to see like Advance Wars could be big, anyways, but the multiplayer is what will give it some sustainability. And the way you do that is to kind of look at what like Wargroove did and do this words with friends style multiplayer. Please God, it's so good. You have to put that in there.
I feel like that's such an obvious thing. They have.
It's not obvious. It's not obvious. Never assume. No. Never take that shit
Knock
for
on
granted.
Some wood.
You don't knock on wood. You don't cross your fingers and hope that the loading is not there. You don't hope that they put that multiplayer in. You let them know now. You let them know now and not take that fucking chance.
One Mr. Boy in chat is saying the store page for the game says no online multiplayer.
They have already confirmed multiplayer.
They confirmed there's online multiplayer.
Or maybe it was only local.
Oh, wait. The store page says no online. No store page says that.
He doesn't.
It would just not. It would just not mention it.
It might not mention it, but there's no way it says no online multiplayer. But anyways, that's Advance Wars. I'm very excited. I know the people who didn't care about Advance Wars are probably still not going to care, and that's fine. But I'm excited.
It was a big deal.
These are 10 out of 10 games.
All right, we need to get moving. So where do we want to go from here?
I will say that the Nintendo page for this game says game supports online play.
Okay.
So it definitely does not say no multiplayer.
Okay. One Mr. Boy lied to us. How dare he?
Okay. So, and again, I want to reiterate here, this is not an all-inclusive list. This is kind of the highlights for us as far, because there are a lot of games that showed up at E3 this year. If you want to see them all, I do recommend that E3 recap site. There's a ton of stuff, a bunch of indie stuff worth mentioning, but we're not going to hit them all today, obviously.
Can I, if we're going to stick with Nintendo, can I quickly bring up WarioWare? Get it together.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. The first WarioWare game in quite a while. I love WarioWare games. They're fantastic. They're always just like delightful little fun games. I'm excited about this one that it also has like some multiplayer elements to it as well. So that should be pretty fun.
I could probably play this with Henry, I think.
Probably.
They're pretty simple games.
Yeah, usually they're very simple, just like, each game is like within, 5 seconds long. They're usually really quick little things, pick the guy's nose or sweep up this leaves, whatever it is. They're usually really quick, but that's kind of the fun of it is you don't know what to expect going into it. So it's always kind of like a challenge. And, with how adept and the unique things they've done with the Joy-Cons, think of like 1-2 switch or like the Labo stuff. I could see them doing some pretty interesting stuff with WarioWare, and sure. I'm excited for it.
And not only that, like, forgive me, I've never played a WarioWare game, but based on what I've seen in the past, all the characters are just like generic characters that you don't do much with, just to complete the mini games. But in this new one, evidently different characters will have different power sets, so you can complete mini games differently.
That is new.
Yeah, the old games didn't have characters. Just in the story, they had characters. Now they're making them controllable. I mean, that's kind of the unique thing, I guess, is that you're actually controlling characters and using them to interact with the scene in different ways, which is different. We'll see.
Yeah. The only other one I wanted to bring up is it's an excitement / frustration is Mario Party Superstars. I am so fucking pissed when they announced this because I thought it was new content for Mario Party 8. So it's on 10. What are they on now?
I have 10, no idea.
Whatever the more recent one is. The most recent one, they just, as soon as the pandemic is starting to end, they release online fucking play for the game. Super Mario Party, whatever it is. But like all of the content that's coming out in this game seems like they took a bunch of stuff that was broken in Super Mario Party on the Switch and fixed it, and now they're letting you buy it again. Like that's what it seems like is going on here, and that's very frustrating because just recently I've had because during the pandemic I was at home by myself, and so it's like, oh, my friend's like, hey, you want to play some Mario Party? And I was like, sure, and I buy the game, and it turns out all you can do is play like a couple of little like mini games, and that's it. You can't actually fucking play Mario Party. And that was a super fucking big letdown.
Glaring oversight.
Very much so. And, yes, as soon as I read the fine print, I found that out, but I didn't realize that. And so now that they do let you do online play, it's like, well, great, I can do it, but there's still a lot of limitations to it. And it seems like this one is going to have like a bunch of new maps, and I can't remember all of the content. I just remember seeing it and thinking like, oh shit, they're adding all this stuff. And like, oh yeah, new game, $60, please.
I will say kind of overall with like the Nintendo thing is I was a little worried about their 2021 launch or their 2021 lineup for the rest of the year, because I didn't think things like Metroid Prime or Breath of the Wild 2 would be coming out this year, and they're not. But those games that we just mentioned, Metroid, Advance Wars, WarioWare, those are all 2021 like
Mario
games.
Party is this year too.
Mario Party, you got Mario Golf, Monster Hunter Stories 2. Like the Switch has a lot of cool shit now, which is exciting because I feel like last year and the year before it was kind of So it's good to see.
Two things I want to mention before we move on from Nintendo, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I know I was probably being unreasonable here. My biggest probably frustration from the entire show is that the Zelda 30th anniversary stuff, it turned out to be a Game & Watch thing that had like Zelda 1, 2, Link's Awakening, and I forgot what the fourth one was. But and I've been desperate for like a collection that has like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess on the Switch on a cartridge. Like I've wanted that forever, and I was so fucking, I was like, this is the year. This is it. Like they were gonna do the whole thing they did with Super Mario last year. And it didn't happen. It did not materialize, and that was a real bummer for me.
I'm still waiting on my Prime trilogy, Nick, because this is the year for that. It's also Metroid's 35th anniversary.
I would have taken that as well, and it's just one of those things that fucking sucks. And the Switch
Although
Pro,
at the time it seemed you were like, Yeah, whatever.
I mean, it was weird because like
you spent the whole Breath of the Wild 2 trailer bummed about games you already played.
I was really excited for the. I want to play. I want to have those games. I want to play them on the go. I want to revisit all of those games. I just don't want to bust out my Wii U to do it. I've been wanting them on the Switch forever, and it didn't happen. So that was a bummer. So as soon as I realized that wasn't happening, that was like sinking in as Breath of the Wild 2 was starting, and I probably looked really sad when I shouldn't have been.
Also, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is also this year, which also looked good, and they showed it at Nintendo. Yeah. I mean, Nintendo obviously won E3, right? I mean, I think they're.
I think there's debate. I think there's debate because
fucking debate.
Dude, there is debate, dude. Microsoft had a really good showing.
Let's see Jeff Keighley's poll.
Microsoft.
I think Microsoft had some good stuff. That's because they keep buying everyone. Their solution
that's not what we're debating.
I get it. I get it, Nick. I mean, it does suck that they're taking away games from other console players and exclusively locking them down in Microsoft's house, which is kind of shitty.
But fucking Sony has done that to so many good games. I mean, like, they didn't buy them.
I don't blame
Microsoft. They just had them though. It's the difference between having an internal developer.
Do you know how many people are like probably really bummed that the Xbox players that they can't play Ghost of Tsushima and Horizon Zero Dawn? But it's like, so Microsoft made a purchase, and suddenly they have a game like Starfield, and that's kind of a disappointment for a lot of people, obviously, because they want to play it. But Sony's been hoarding fucking amazing shit for years. It's not like I can't hold it against them. I guess for
straw manning. You're never mind.
What
does Sony have to do with anything? Sony wasn't even at E3.
Well, like, I'm just saying, I know. So you're missing my point. My point is that like you can't really get upset with Microsoft for doing what they need to do to get really great exclusives on their platform because you don't personally own an Xbox. And we've been talking about all these amazing Sony games for years that other people have not been able to play yet.
I understand that, but that's you're going at this from the wrong direction. What I'm saying is, yes, Sony's always had internal developers that say, hey, I'm going to create a game for PlayStation. That's one thing over here. And then you have this guy over here, and he's like, I create games for everybody. And Microsoft's like, here's $1 billion. No, you don't anymore. You just make them for me, bitch. That's the shitty situation I'm talking about.
Sure, I guess. Yeah. I mean,
like, I'm not. I have a PC, so I can still play them all. It's not a problem for me. Like, but I'm just saying there are definitely people out there who don't, and who potentially love Bethesda games. Also, and it's like, well, I hope.
I agree with you there, Dylan. But then I think about the fact that I can no longer play Spider-Man games on an Xbox or any other platform.
Well, I know, but that's what that was from a developer that is historically developed only for Sony.
Yeah.
So
I'm with
they've
Nick
also published for other platforms.
I'm with Nick. I think all games
wasn't Insomniac,
be available to all people.
No, that's what I'm saying, Crispy.
Their place in the socioeconomic hierarchy. Capitalism is keeping you away from video games.
But we were talking about E3 here.
Capitalism personified.
We've gone down the worst rabbit hole.
While I think that Microsoft had a decent showing, I think the reason even though the games that they showed looked cool, there was a lot of like frustration surrounding the Microsoft press conference for me, because I feel like a lot of the more exciting games that they already announced, all those studios that they fucking purchased and said, hey, we're working on this, we're working on this, we're working on this, that stuff wasn't here. I really thought we were going to see more Starfield. I thought we were going to see Fable. And I know Nick disagrees, but I feel like Fable is a big, long-running first-party franchise for Microsoft. It's one of the ones where it's like, we have Halo, we have Fable, we have fucking Forza, right? Like,
but again, Fable was announced. Fable was announced last year but being developed by a studio that was already working on Forza Horizon 5, which was one of the big shows, games they showed this year.
But the leak where people found out that that Fable was being worked on by Playground Games, the makers of Forza Horizon, goes back years before that fucking teaser.
I know, but like the green light for full production on that game may not have even happened until last year.
But
like it could have been
like, okay, but sure, but still, like, if you look at what they announced last year, none of that shit was here. There was no, the big Fable game, the big Rare game, what's it called?
Everwild was, by the way, Everwild was apparently rebooted, like straight up, like back to square one.
We didn't see it, right? And there was a lot of like questions, like Perfect Dark. There was not even, they didn't even mention Perfect Dark, right? There was all these cool games they talked about last year, and they're just fucking gone. And they're replaced by a lot of cool looking indies, cool looking third party games, stuff that's going to be on Game Pass, but it's Avowed, right? Like Avowed was one of the most exciting things they talked about last year, because like, look, we bought Obsidian, they're making their own fucking Elder Scrolls game, and here's a teaser trailer for it. And
a teaser trailer
what did they announce? They announced Outer Worlds 2. Look, that's fine. The trailer was very clever. Still, we would like you to say something about Avowed, because that's the one you already mentioned, and that's the one we were excited about. Hellblade 2. Again, we didn't see Hellblade 2. They had a little, chat with fucking Ninja Theory today, but it still was not at the Microsoft. It was still not at the Microsoft press conference. And for me, I was going into E3 saying Microsoft has the most to prove, that it's their first party lineup. All these studios they bought, all these ones that were announced, these are the ones I'm excited about. I'm sweating a little bit not having an Xbox. Is my graphics card going to be able to keep up? And they don't mention fucking any of them.
Brad, did you hear the Hellblade conversation today?
No.
In that conversation, they basically said
gameplay?
No, what they said they were in the middle of doing, like they were getting ready to do right now, is they had just finished working on a very thin vertical slice of the game to get approval to go into full production. As in, they haven't even started full production on it.
But here's the thing, Nick. Microsoft needs these games so fucking badly. No one's buying Xboxes because they don't have to, because these games are so fucking far out and they're not even talking about them.
Sure.
Who's going to buy an Xbox?
Yeah, why are you panicking? Also, dude, COVID, man. Come on. COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
COVID. Oh, no, Microsoft is losing
money. No, but you're saying that they're exciting games. These were exciting games.
Can we talk about what
games
was
I'm
there,
excited about weren't there?
Yes.
All right, let's talk about some stuff that was there. I want to get through Microsoft before we go to the break. Starfield. Did not see a ton of Starfield, but we did get our first look at the engine. We got kind of a taste for the world, the universe, which was distinctly different than maybe what I was expecting personally, because it seemed a lot more grounded than I was expecting. It didn't seem very.
They're calling it NASA punk, and I want to fucking die when I heard that's terrible.
I'm not going all in on
more
the
grounded.
The choice.
You mean more like
it seems like it looks like our technology. You know what I mean?
Like, space.
It looks like Interstellar.
Less Star Trek, more.
It does look like Interstellar, to be honest.
Yeah.
But again, one of these things where you don't really have a lot to go off of, because what we saw, while it was in engine, it was not gameplay, and it didn't give us a taste of what moment-to-moment gameplay looks like in it. So there's not really much to say about it. To be totally honest,
there's not much to say about it. Is
me personally though?
Exactly.
Me personally though. Well, they did give a release date on it of holiday next year. This is one of those things when they first announced this back to back with Elder Scrolls 6. I didn't think we would see this anytime soon. Like, I think now feels like too soon personally to me. So I'm pleasantly surprised by the fact that that Starfield was already, like, they're talking about releasing next year. So
well, I mean,
that
this game has been in development in some way, shape, or form since Skyrim came out.
I know, but I just think about how they were talking about this game when it was first announced, which sounded very much like
Skyrim.
It sounded to me like we weren't going to see Starfield until like 2024, and then we weren't going to see Elder Scrolls 6 until like 3 or 4 years after that. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to see it.
You're right.
Well, the big thing about this new game is that this is on a brand new engine. This is on Creation Engine 2.
Which, you know what? Thank God, because their engine that they've been using for years is not great.
Dated.
Who's to say this one's going to be any better?
I hope based on what we see right now, or what we see next year, we're going to see that level of quality go directly into Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah,
I'm excited about Starfield. This thing did nothing to I wanted to see more so I can be even more
excited. It was weird they opened with this.
Nothing. It's nothing. And they showed 3 years ago, they showed a teaser trailer that was, again, also a bunch of nothing. Granted, a little more nothing than this, but it's still, this is fucking nothing. And fuck, man. Like, we can wait. Yeah, COVID. Yeah, I'm not expecting it. Well, we just talked about Nintendo, and it's like 5 games that are coming out this year. So I feel like that actually matters.
The thing that really excites. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to usher this along because we're coming up on an hour.
Oh, yeah, we definitely should move along. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you have something you want to say about Starfield, get it out.
I just wanted to mention real quick the thing that kind of excites me about this new project, this Starfield, is what they're pitching with the story. What they're pitching is that Interstellar wasn't that far off a reference because you are evidently one of the last explorers of the cosmos for humanity. So, like, what that means for the story implications for 300 years in the future, like,
it could be cool.
I think it'd be
I mean,
cool.
I'm just happy to see Bethesda get away.
I mean, they could say, "Oh, the main character fucks a space alien." That doesn't mean anything, though.
When it was
this is still just a concept.
I don't know. When it was like, "Oh, the Skyrim people are doing an open world sci-fi RPG." I didn't think it was just gonna look like the next Call of Duty. That's what Call of Duty looks like nowadays.
Okay, well, Call of Duty doesn't have awesome quest lines like the Dark Brotherhood.
You're right. I don't think anybody wants this game to be bad, Brad. Like,
but a
lot of people
really like it to be good. A lot of people
expect it to be bad, which is crazy to me.
Okay, I mean,
I'm just happy
shown anything worth getting excited about. So
sure, but not getting excited yet versus expecting it to be bad is very different.
I don't know.
I'm just happy to see them get away from the same two fucking universes they've been developing in for the last decade. They've needed a new IP for so long. So this, whatever. I'm happy.
They need another IP that can sell for a decade on every console and system that comes out.
Sure. They're going to go right back to that one of those IPs again right after Starfield is done.
They had to skip a decade to do it.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk Stalker 2 for a second. We're playing Stalker right now, or we're playing Shattered Chernobyl right now for the Revival Club. So I'm finally kind of getting into that and getting a taste for it, and I'm loving it.
You're playing Call of Pripyat.
Oh, sorry, Call of Pripyat. Sure. I keep forgetting all of the different. There's like 3 or 4 different games, different subtitles. But yeah, we're playing Call of Pripyat right now. But I'm finally kind of getting a feel for the universe and like what made that game interesting and special. And playing that in real time while also watching this alongside this announcement is really exciting. It's coming in April, which is really cool. I don't know if I'm going to have a graphics card that can handle this by the time it comes out, so this might end up being the game that pushes me to get an Xbox before it comes out. So we'll see. But a lot of the stuff that made Stalker Call of Pripyat really exciting, like the weather effects that Chris Davis is always going on about, those are actually very, very fucking cool and very exciting. So to see those play out in like on modern tech sounds really cool. This trailer kind of hit all the right notes for me. They got a new subtitle. It's called Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. So I'm guessing Chernobyl itself is going to play a bigger role than it does in Call of Pripyat. But yeah, man, this looks like Metro on steroids.
I wasn't
in
in until this part right here, where you
throwing the anomaly stuff,
the gust,
the anomaly. Yeah, dude, the throwing the bolts thing is fucking cool. It looks weird, but it makes total sense, and it makes that game special.
This area of the trailer. So today during Microsoft's Xbox Extended thing, they had a developer walk through what happens in the trailer. This area is in clear sky, so that sounds to me like they're remaking the maps, which is really fucking cool.
I don't know enough about Stalker, honestly, to know what that means, but I'll take your word for it.
What does it look like, by the way? You said there's a developer playthrough of this?
I mean, it's not playthrough. It's literally this trailer, and they cut back and forth every now and then between a developer talking about what's going on screen. And
I'm still somewhat skeptical of this project. This trailer looked good, and I was definitely worried about it a little bit more before, a little less now. But I want to see a developer sit down. When does this thing come out?
April
August
22nd.
April next year. Yeah,
I want to see a developer sit down and play some of this game really.
And I'm sure that's coming. But of the 3 like Metro Chernobyl style shooters that are coming out, which is strange that they're all coming out right now. But we got Chernobylite, and what was the other one? It starts with a P. Somebody in chat probably knows.
Those are like smaller indie games.
Pioneer. Yeah, but they're all going for the same kind of thing, where it's kind of like this atmospheric Chernobyl setting. This one looks amazing, so I'm excited. I hope it plays out. I'm really digging Call of Pripyat, so I'm in the mood for this. So yeah, not much else to say about it, but it looks dope.
It does look dope.
All right, let's just kind of rattle off a few. Avalanche announced a new IP, Contraband. Don't know what that is. Yeah, that was a trailer, but
not even cinematic trailer, just like atmospheric trailer.
It basically implied probably open world co-op action game.
They showed more Ayuden Chronicles.
Yes,
Ayuden Chronicles, which is the spiritual successor of Suikoden, that was kickstarted successfully by the creator of Suikoden. I was not expecting to see more of it so soon, and
I agree.
and so much more of it, because these Kickstarters, they have a successful Kickstarter and you don't see anything.
I mean, this game's only been in development for like a year or two, and we've seen like 10 times more of it than we've seen of Skyrim.
The scale and scope and requirements for that kind of projects is different.
But even like the smaller ones where you see like these older, these legacy, these older developers or older like creatives like kickstarting a game, it's like, yeah, you'll get it like in fucking 2026 or something.
Yeah.
It's nice to see, even though this release date is pretty far out. I think they have it as 2023, which is pretty good and realistic for a Kickstarter game. It's nice to see so much of it now. It's nice to see that they're getting some support from Microsoft. Like, this thing is coming, we can see it, and that's exciting to say.
And they also announced a spin-off that's coming out next year.
Which is maybe that was a stretch goal or something. I don't know, but that was unexpected.
So just gonna rattle off a few more here. Again,
hold on. Crispy reminder, I have a copy of Ayuden for you whenever it comes out. As long as you don't forget it.
You got the buddy tier.
Yeah, I got me and Crispy talked about it, and I had a feeling he forgot about it, and I just wanted to remind him.
I have to look that up.
Did you back it yourself, Crispy? Double check your email, because I bought the 2-pack.
Oh dear.
I don't remember what this game is.
The Suikoden spiritual
successor to Suikoden, from the creator of Suikoden.
Oh, I did not back that.
You should watch the trailer.
Well, you kind of did. You owe me a little bit of money.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. You got 2.5 years to pay me.
Oh, thank God.
All right. Again, a reminder that we're not going to hit every little announcement here. I'm just going to rattle off a few of these. If you want to see everything that was announced, if you missed it, again, E3 Recap website is a great resource. But they showed off Psychonauts 2. There's also a lot of gameplay they showed during the the extended thing they did today. So if you haven't watched that yet, Brad, check it out. It looks really cool.
What game?
Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts 2?
They showed off a lot of gameplay today.
That gameplay trailer was no, I did watch that, and I did watch that. It is really good, actually. And even the gameplay trailer they showed at Microsoft was also really good. Game continues to look really good. It's another one, dream project coming true soon, so that's exciting.
Brad's having a good year. This was one that's really high on the list for me. I'm sure probably some of y'all here too, maybe, but Somerville. Which looks like it's developed by at least one or two people that worked on Limbo and Inside, if I remember correctly. It looks kind of like Inside.
Just one guy, I think.
It looks like War of the Worlds through the lens of someone who worked on Inside, and that's awesome. So that looked cool. They showed off a bunch of Halo Infinite. Story trailer, multiplayer, grappling hooks, cool. I mean, I think it showed a lot better this time than it did last time. But you guys,
last time they showed it, you guys were all like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be like Halo now, or it's gonna be like Destiny now," and I got all excited. And it's just fucking Halo.
Wait, we didn't say it was like Destiny. We were worried.
No, that's what Nick said. He's like, it's gonna be like Destiny. I got excited about this fake Halo that apparently doesn't exist.
And I was worried about that fake Halo.
You're an
that
MMO
apparently doesn't
player now,
exist, so-
anyways.
Supposedly the release date for Infinite leaked. It's supposed to be November the 9th.
Yeah.
Which is
weird. I thought they would at the very
anniversary
least
of Halo
announce that
2,
date.
actually.
I was like, why the fuck would they not announce that at E3? It seems like an obvious spot to do that. Let's see. They announced a sequel to a Plague Tale called Requiem.
Yes.
That's honestly, that game is pretty cool. Never expected it to get a sequel, so cool.
I started playing Innocence today, actually.
How are you liking it?
I liked it, and then I stopped because the news came out that it's getting an upgrade for the next gen consoles. So I immediately stopped.
Maybe
was it running poorly? Was it running poorly?
I was kind of struggling with it.
Okay.
It was tolerable, but like that's a game you want 4K 60 for, I think.
Because I do want to play it. You want 4K 60? I want 4K 60 for everything.
All right, I'm again sorry, skipping over a few smaller things. If I miss anything that y'all specifically want me to mention, just chime in. Let's see. Replaced looked really fucking cool. That's like the Blade Runner looking like 2D pixel art, not pixel art. Like Brad, how would you describe that?
Is it pixel art? I think so.
But damn, it looks so good. My only concern is like, man, I hope it is not all flash. Like I hope it's like I hope it is like I hope there is some gameplay conceit that's like super fun and addicting, because I can't take another game that looks amazing but doesn't have any substance to it. Maybe that's harsh, but like I feel like Katana Zero was that game for me, where it was like, this looks incredible, but I was tired of it like after 30 minutes to an hour. Even though I finished it, it did not stick with me. This game looks incredible, and I hope the gameplay, when they finally talk about what it actually is and what you're doing moment to moment, I hope it matches the way it looks, because damn, it looks incredible. They showed off Atomic Heart, which is that Bioshock looking. Yeah, I mean, it does look like.
I watched the gameplay footage of it also, and it looked kind of poop.
I've seen gameplay of it. I'm actually in their Discord. I watch all their videos and they post them. I'm still pretty. I know it's gonna have that kind of like Euro jank that comes along with, it's an indie developed looking spiritual successor to like Bioshock, but like
poop is harsh. I'm sorry, but that is what I was worried like Stalker 2 was gonna like become something that shows really well in trailers, maybe, and once you start, someone sits down and plays it, it's like, yeah, this is a little We Happy Few.
Maybe. We'll see. They keep showing it, and I keep waiting for them to announce something of substance, where it's like, here's an extended gameplay demo or a look, or here's a demo you can play, or here's a release date. But it's just like, here's the game again, with no mention of like when it's coming or when to expect more details about it. So whatever. The Ascent. Which one was The Ascent? Is that another indie game?
Old.
Okay. Outer Worlds 2. You already mentioned that. That was a nothing trailer with just a funny hook to it, I guess.
Well, yeah, it was a big joke, but
yeah,
Brad,
it wasn't avowed.
Yeah, it was not avowed. Yeah. And lastly, and I won't talk about this forever, but they did close with an announcement from Arcane Austin, a new IP, which was a huge surprise. This is the team that worked on Prey, which is a game we all love here, right?
It made all of our top 10s. Oh,
yep.
Actually, wait.
Shut the fuck up, Brad.
Didn't make.
If I could, I know, and I regret that every day. Honestly, I regret. Like, I think about every year. There's a game that I regret not putting in my top 10, and that is definitely that year was Prey.
It's okay. That game is pretty incredible, though.
But Arcane Austin, it does some cool stuff. This is supposedly open world, optional co-op, where you hunting vampires.
Optional co-op is the sweetest word you heard probably during that presentation.
Yeah. Optional.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I will absolutely want to play this co-op.
I was about to say, like, I think it's like, don't get me wrong, to each his own. But I think in a game of this style, I think co-op just adds a whole nother element that it makes the game more fun than playing it by yourself. Games like Left 4 Dead, when you try to do it by yourself with AI, it just leads to frustrations and stuff.
Best case scenario
it's so much more fun when you're playing with friends and you're actually talking with them instead of like the bullshit AI randomly saying pills here.
Right. I mean, the best case scenario for me, and this is maybe a long shot, I don't know, but like I think about Dying Light, which is a game I played for like 60 hours by myself, and then boom, I jump in with Nolan and Jaeger and Crispy or whatever, and we're running around and I'm having a fucking blast. And then I can go right back to playing.
Is fun solo. What if this game is a little more Left 4 Dead like, which supports single player, but really,
but it's open world, which makes me think like you wouldn't build an open world that you might, but it would seem like a stretch to me that you build like a big open world, and it's kind of like you have to play it with other people to really get much out of it. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a cinematic. It's a cinematic trailer. It's a cinematic trailer. We don't know much about it, but I love Arcane Austin. I loved Prey. Vampires are fucking cool. It gives me like maybe like it reminds me of like Dark Watch a little bit, but I don't know.
Dark Watch.
Yeah, just like
like
the supernatural.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's maybe a bit of a stretch.
That's what I was bringing up. Is I'm not familiar with Dark Watch, but it's saying bringing up the fact that these characters do seem pretty unique, more so than in something like Left 4 Dead, where you have the old guy and the young guy and the other one,
and the girl
whereas
one.
in this, and the girl one. Whereas in this, you have fucking people with like powers and shit, and we haven't seen too much. We've only seen a little bit, but you seem to have like a tech guy who has all these cool gadgets and shit, and a fucking robot, and then you have the one that's fucking ice, the ice beam stuff, and then you have like the lady who's doing weird, like building a fucking elevator out of like
elevator.
Some like. Yeah, like what the? I'm curious about that. How that's going to affect gameplay?
This almost seems like I'm watching like some new season of Fortnite. To be honest, like I really have no idea what this game's actually going to be.
Yeah, there appears to be a streamer class.
Really?
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, there's the guy there. He's constantly like recording everything. He's acting like a fucking streamer. Yeah.
But you know what?
Arcane is the big deal for me. I mean, I agree with Nick. I think this looked really cool. Knowing that it's Arcane is exciting.
And this is next year, apparently, supposedly. So I would imagine we'll get a better look at it here pretty soon. It's a cool cinematic trailer. Unfortunately, it is just a cinematic trailer, but it is a cinematic trailer worth watching. Her psychic umbrella, that was cool.
Yeah,
dude, I'm in. I'm fucking in. But yeah, that game's called Redfall. But anyways, that pretty much gets us through Bethesda and Microsoft. So again, if you missed something, if you check out that E3 we did. Was there something I didn't mention that you want to bring up, Nolan?
Yes,
Brad,
specifically from Microsoft and Bethesda, or
anything I would think,
all of E3.
I just want to talk about SquareEnix real quick
because we haven't talked about the game and show yet. I mean, we haven't talked about this game.
Gloomwood.
Didn't we talk about that last week? But we'll talk about it again. I have no problem.
Death's Door. Oh, Inscription.
No, but that's close. Inscription was really cool.
I don't know.
I was gonna bring up Death's Door as one of the ones that we had.
Yeah, Death's Door is pretty cool. Inscription's really cool. I'm actually really excited about.
Elden Ring.
Well, Elden Ring. No, but I'm not talking about Elden Ring either.
You're not?
Oh.
Trek to Yomi.
Oh
yes,
Trek
to Yomi looks really good.
Oh yeah.
From the Devolver set.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fucking dope. It looks so cool.
I guess I got to watch that trailer, and I think I missed that one.
Well, no, you saw it. It's
the black and white samurai
game. Ghost of Tsushima black and white mode, but
yeah.
But
cool.
Side-scrolling samurai game, but like with actual like cinematography, like it's amazing.
It looks pretty cool.
It's fucking dope.
All right, so I did want to bring up just a couple other ones.
Wait,
so first off,
we're going to talk more about E3 after the break.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Zombie samurai, guys. Zombie samurai. That's kind of cool.
Yes.
I'm just going to take a break, so we'll come back. We'll talk about stuff we saw at Devolver,
There's a couple
PC Gaming, Square Enix, not Capcom, because nothing
at
Capcom.
PC Gaming, I don't think, right?
You're right. That PC Game show is kind of a waste. But anyways, we'll have some more E3 stuff to cover. We'll continue that conversation when we come back. So if you're listening to us live or on the go, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, everybody. More E3 news to discuss. We made it through Nintendo. We made it through Microsoft Bethesda. But there were a few other smaller presentations that had some stuff worth mentioning.
One Well, now, easy, buddy.
Some with some stuff not worth mentioning, so we won't. Again, not a fully comprehensive list here, just the things that stand out to us.
SquareEnix.
Are we opening with Square Enix?
Why not?
Sure.
You know,
let's talk about that.
20 minutes on Guardians of the Galaxy, the new Marvel game from the creators from the team that did the impossible and revived Deus Ex. Now they're making Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Which is a game, an interesting open world RPG like Deus Ex?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, first of all, how do you do an open world really?
I don't know.
Do we know it's not?
No, we know it's not.
We know it's not.
I was watching this and I got like PS2, early PS3 vibes in terms of like, this type of game does not exist anymore. This feels like a quote unquote a licensed game, which usually meant movie tie-in games, which aren't really a thing anymore. That stuff sort of got shifted over to like mobile game crap, right? And we stopped getting like, this game's on a console, those don't really happen anymore. If there's superhero games, but those are like big budget productions, like Batman games, like Spider-Man games. You don't typically, and this seems like it's in that weird place that might be right
somewhere in the middle.
This is not competing with Spider-Man and Batman, right? This is like a type of game that doesn't really exist anymore. That's the vibe I got from Guardians.
I think
of the
the thing about the Guardians of the Galaxy game, beyond just the fact that Deus Ex is not there and that breaks my heart, is that everyone went into this presentation thinking that the worst case scenario was going to happen with this game and that it was just going to turn into another Avengers mediocre fest.
But we knew.
Here's the thing: even that Avengers game had this certain polish to it that this game I think lacks. And
wait, what do you mean? Well,
I mean, sorry,
I would flip that.
I wouldn't say Avengers and polish in the same sentence.
Okay, well, I mean, sorry, what I'm trying to say, there's a certain, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without sounding super.
You can be rude. It's okay to be rude.
No,
sometimes.
Without sounding superficial.
Oh,
but
it could be that too.
The Avengers, there was a certain amount of visual fidelity to it. It's very smooth looking. Everything looks crisp and nice. This game had this to me had this like visual style that was teetering back and forth between looking modern and looking like a budget movie tie-in game. Like there were genuinely moments where I was like, "Oh, this game actually looks pretty nice," and the next moment, like it flipped, and I was like, "Oh, this does not look very nice."
The combat stuff seemed kind of jank, right? A little bit. It wasn't like smooth or 60 FPS or anything.
There were too many jump cuts and things like that in there to really get a feel for like the overall flow of combat,
which is weird, right? I mean, so. You know what game popped into my head when I was watching this? It was that Star Trek game based on the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe that people were slightly going, this kind of looks like Mass Effect a little bit. Do you remember that game? And there was like Uncharted.
The
it was like
Spock,
young Spock was clamoring on things.
And it was a good demo of that game. It's just that game turned out to be pretty fucking mediocre and crappy.
Sure, but that's the kind of vibes I got from watching this presentation.
Yeah, I can't help but feel this game is gonna kind of fall flat.
I went back and I watched that footage.
I'm excited about it. Y'all are just a bunch of poopy pants.
I watched that footage again, and I decided that like this actually might be something that I play because I actually think that the writing and the characterizations and the Guardians of the Galaxy themselves is just pretty good.
And there's a lot of emphasis. It looks like there's a lot of emphasis on that, like kind of conversational social gameplay too, like you'd see in a fucking
Telltale
adventure game, Telltale.
Yeah. Drax is always gonna be good because he's Drax, right?
But he looks weird.
It doesn't matter. But
he looks like he does in the comic book, Nick.
I mean,
really?
I feel like is that a bingo square? Like
Drax
in the films just looks like Dave Bautista.
That's what he looks like in the comics now. Yeah.
But I feel like the writing and the acting was actually, like I said, when I went back to watch it again, was actually fine. Like I was pretty entertained.
When I've only watched it once, and when I watched it, it was happening live, and we were watching via the Twitch gaming stream, so they'd cut out all the licensed music, and I'm wondering if watching the trailer with the actual licensed music helps.
The licensed music was I Need a Hero, which is weird because the episode of Loki that came out that week also used that.
Yeah, it had that song in it.
Yeah, everything uses that. And it's always better because of it.
Marvel really getting their money's worth.
It's like, wait, which song are we talking about? I Need a Hero? Is that?
I Need a Hero.
I need a hero. Crispy, in regards to Drax looking like the comic or not, I understand that his character design looks more like the comic, but I think his eye makeup looks a little too clowny.
Oh, see,
compared to what it looks.
It's not eye makeup; it's tattoos.
I understand that they're tattoos. What I'm saying is the way it's like shaped, the triangles, like it doesn't. It
looks like a juggalo.
Images I've seen.
Dude, I mean, it's like I don't know what to tell you, man.
Alien juggalo.
That's what
it's a little. It's a little sharper in this game than it is in the comics. At least the images, because I remember Googling it around that time to see like, oh, is this what Drax looks like in more modern?
There's definitely a lot of stuff that drawn on the page looks cool, and then like moving around in real life.
You all sound like you're arguing over Advance Wars graphics.
But also,
I'm not.
At the end of the day, like that Square Enix is going to sell skin packs, so you'll get the Drax that you want to look at.
Project. So here's the thing. The reason I think this feels like a movie tie-in game almost, not in a bad way, right? Maybe in a good way, maybe in a charming way, is that because this is the first time we saw this game, and it comes out in October. Which is weird, right? That doesn't fucking happen. That's a few months away. You don't see a game that's been worked on for years and all of a sudden it's out.
I mean, that's not true at all, but okay.
Yeah, didn't you say that exact opposite of that about Fallout 4?
Okay, sure, but you've been hearing about. I mean, Fallout 4 was a thing that you knew had been in production for years and years and years, and this is like
we didn't even
know what this was. We didn't know what it was, and now it's just out. It's weird.
It certainly doesn't seem.
I think it looks cool.
Also, when they revealed Fallout 4, they talked about it for like 40 fucking minutes. We knew everything about it.
You know what's gonna make like what I want to see from this game is I want to see interesting gameplay with Quill's elemental blasters, because on the wheel it looks like he has different. Like on the UI, it looks like he has different elemental based attacks that he can do with his blasters. In the comics, that's what they're for. Like they're not just laser guns like they are in the movie. He actually like can control different types of elements with them and do like cool, interesting things. And that kind of stuff could make really cool gameplay. We didn't see a lot of it in the trailer. I hope that's something that's like maybe they're holding back, but I don't know. It's like it seems to me that it's like.
I will say this, kind of like the way I feel about Arcane. I feel like because of what they did for Deus Ex, that studio has earned a certain amount of cred. I feel like giving them the benefit of the doubt might be in our best interest here because
October,
they did a lot of cool.
That's weird.
I mean, again, it's not
but there
weird.
could have been a lot of
the
reasons.
vast majority of games that are announced or released within 6 months of their announcement.
What are you talking about?
It is.
That's
it is
not
a.
true
It
at
is
all.
a fact.
It's
yes.
definitely not true of this E3.
No,
or any
I
game.
don't think that's
what are you
true.
talking about? Even Fallout 4, they didn't announce Fallout 4 that E3. That was just when they showed it off. This was literally the first time they announced this Guardians of the Galaxy game. There was just like rumors and leaks, but they announced it and it's coming out 3 months after. That is not normal.
I mean, I
mean,
don't say other than you're wrong, but okay.
Okay, well, when's Stalker coming out? Am I going to play that 2 years ago?
I mean,
okay, never mind. This is a weird conversation.
Well, I don't know. He's got a point. Every game that's announced also has Mario in it. Every single one.
That's true.
I can make up shit too. Like I don't believe that fact at all, Chris Davis.
Oh my god,
like,
we need to move on.
The most random, out of nowhere fact.
Look up where I know this from, and I'll get back to you.
All
next
right,
podcast.
go for it.
What else did Square Enix have?
Well, I think the other big thing, right? Well, there's something else.
Final Fantasy 7 First Soldier.
Real we did know about that. But we found out that Babylon's Fall looks like a bit of a train wreck, and they redid the art style, and it still looks kind of iffy. And that might be a live service game.
that game, I don't know. Even after seeing it, I don't know.
People are starting to get
feel about it.
People are starting to get really worried about Platinum Games, especially because this is yet another E3 where there is no Bayonetta 3.
It's true.
Which is fucking crazy.
True.
Which, granted, was only announced 3 months ago.
They announced that more than 6. Yeah, they announced it more than 6 months ago. It has to already be out.
Guys, you
Final Fantasy Origin.
Jesus Christ.
No, Stranger of Paradise. No. Final Fantasy Origin.
Dude, why does the main character of that look like a fucking like Devil May Cry like dude bro like?
Oh, it's terrible, but that has got to just be
design.
That's just mailship, right? Like that's got to be like you can customize this character, right?
No, you can't.
What?
You can change the
customize your weapon and clothing.
You can change the outfit.
Yeah, I know he's got like the equipment and stuff, but like
he's got
that's just what he looked. That's his face.
Yeah,
I can take off his cotton T-shirt.
Back up a little. Going into E3, this was exciting because it got leaked a few weeks ago that the creators of Nioh, Team Ninja, is making a Final Fantasy game that plays like Nioh. And going into this trailer of this game, this is not what anybody was expecting. I was expecting Nioh, but like, with kind of more medieval fantasy, chocobos, cool black mages and white mage outfits. Like, because we knew it was Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah.
I've played Final Fantasy 1. This is not what Final Fantasy 1 looks like. This is not what Final Fantasy looks like. This is insane. And we know Nomura's involved, and that's obvious because it looks horrifying. The words coming out of people's mouths are horrifying, which is mostly just one word, chaos. But it's all terrible. And there's a demo, which,
real quick, let me just tell you. Of all my years going to E3, us covering E3, this might hold the record for my biggest disappointment of E3.
Wow!
You weren't even that excited.
Wow! Bold statement from Nick. Famous.
I know, Brad. I know I was not sitting here shouting from the rooftops how excited I was about this, but I've been thinking about it ever since that leak happened.
Sure.
I was picturing the exact same shit you were, and the trailer they showed for this just fucking killed it for me.
Yeah, but you gotta. Here's the thing. I never forgot that this was a fucking Team Ninja game, right? And it's not like Team Ninja has ever had like good stories or characters or anything, right? It ranges from like kind of embarrassing like sex doll looking characters like from like Ninja Gaiden to
Nioh is fine.
Huh?
The story in Nioh is
fine, but it's not good.
That main character in Nioh
looks stupid. In the first Nioh, that main character looks stupid. The most exciting thing about Nioh 2 was that you got to create your own lady and dress her up in cool outfits. Here's the thing, there's not cool outfits in this fucking game. Holy shit. So like I was worried that you weren't going to be able to like pick up equipment and change your outfits. Well, you can, but it's all tragic. It's like it's basically opening like up Nomura's closet and dresser. It's all a disaster. But that doesn't matter because you can't see anything anyways. I have the brightness turned all the way up in the game. I have the gamma turned all the way up for the recording. You can't see shit in this game. The blacks are completely crushed. You can't see anything. It's horrible. This is such an ugly game. It doesn't run well. There are assholes out there who are saying it's basically Nioh. Those people should be put in jail. This is not basically Nioh. With that said, they are, from a gameplay perspective, this is not as tragic as that trailer we saw was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, which was tragic in a lot of ways. There is a lot of like there at the very least there is a lot of gameplay systems here. Some of that stuff you might kind of recognize from Nioh, like in terms of there's a variety of different weapons with different skills you can unlock. Everything's a little weird and strange and a little bit clunky and not quite as smooth or fast. And there seems to be a lot of like systems that are like kind of needlessly weird or complicated. But there's some good stuff in there, right? There's a job class system. You can equip 2 different jobs at once and switch between them on the fly. Like I'm some sort of weird bondage mage, but I'm gonna soon switch to a weird bondage dragoon. And
Also, you like there's no stamina meter in the game, but you have like
well, there's a
different
lot of
setups for
meters.
blocking. It's weird.
There's a lot of meters. Some of them could be kind of considered to be stamina. There's a mechanic where you like parry, right? That is very like important for like getting your MP back. At least in theory, it is. You do get some MP back for parrying, but I feel like it's not so much to like actually be some sort of MP generator. But there's ideas in here. There's mechanics in here. Everything just feels a little off, a little clunky, a little too slow, a little like weirdly put together. Like there's some neat ideas, but some of them don't make a lot of sense. Like you level up down a skill tree to unlock an advanced version of a job class, right? Like I started out as a lancer, right? Which uses a lance. And then I unlocked the advanced version of the job class and I was able to become a dragoon. And you could do a jump like I just did in the footage that you see a Final Fantasy dragoon do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of the skills carry over from the previous class, but like not all of them, not the important ones, like it's very strange. Like I went from like a fucking wizard to a black mage or whatever, right?
Thaumaturge?
I went to the
Yeah.
advanced version of a magic class, and the first version of the magic class could while he's charging up the spell to cast, actually will charge up his MP bar, so he can actually cast those spells. Well, the more powerful version of it, the black mage, can't actually do that anymore. So I'm like, well, this advanced version doesn't actually feel advanced. Everything's a little messy, is what I'm getting at. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's neat ideas in there, but this really seems like a rough draft.
So I only played like an hour of this today.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I really just couldn't figure out while playing was what the fuck was the point of your companions? Because all they seem to be there for is to like take a few hits and then they go down. They don't
do that.
They don't pick you up in combat. They don't
fights.
heal you. They don't really do combos with you. So like I don't understand what the point of them is.
And you haven't programmed them yet. You have like Estus flasks, right? To like heal yourself, that sort of thing, right? This game has some, Neo/Dark Soulsy stuff, even though it doesn't really feel like one of those games in terms of like level design and stuff, really. And if your teammates go down, you can waste one of your own Estus flask potions or whatever, right, to revive them. But that's such a waste. Why would you ever do that on them, which are kind of useless, versus healing yourself, which is very important? It's very strange. The AI is bad. They do tank some hits a couple times. They do like help stun lock an enemy occasionally, maybe by just kind of being there, even though they're not doing a lot of damage. They are swinging their weapon around, but I definitely wouldn't call them useful.
But also, like, as far as I can tell, at least in this demo, you can't like level up or give them equipment. So like it doesn't feel like they'll scale exactly well, and there's no satisfaction for having them around.
It almost
well, I don't know.
like
That's a system where I think you definitely need to see more of the game to find out kind of how that plays out. But it's not all bad. It's just it doesn't help that it's really fucking ugly and it's hard to see anything, and that it doesn't run all that well, because like Neo is like, it's a fast, very smooth action game. And like even the first time I played that very first beta, which I played for like 8 fucking hours, like Neo was immediately like, okay, this is something I like. This is something I will play. This is definitely not that, not yet. Now, I don't know when this is going to come out. It's definitely not this year. They did a pretty good job of listening to player feedback with the various Neo betas that they did for both Neo 1 and 2. And I guess they're going to do that with this game, but their starting point is very different than it was for those games.
There's no fixing what I think is like just the hardest thing to get past, which is the way it looks and the story it's telling seems incredibly
the
juvenile.
way it looks is one thing, but the story it's telling should not be the hardest thing to get past for a game.
It is. It absolutely is for me. Like there is.
Sure. And I don't think you're going to play this game, and I think that's fine.
Which sucks because I love fucking Neo, man. I love it. I fucking love it. And
you love
this
Neo.
is.
Well, I mean, the good news is you have a Neo game to play. This ain't.
I do. That's good.
But yeah, I don't think anyone's ever going to play this for the story outside of it being like it's already become kind of a meme, because he says chaos like 12 times in that short trailer.
This is the game that filled the bingo square about a new E3 meme is born because of the chaos bullshit.
Yeah, that was definitely a meme. Now, I don't think people are going to buy it because of that meme, but like at this point, here's the thing about stories, right? They can be great, they can be bad, or they can just be boring. And at least this is probably not going to be boring. This could be a situation where it's so bad that it's kind of entertaining. And I don't think it's magically going to become good. So maybe I'm bored with the bad. But the thing is, the gameplay and the systems, they need to shape them. They need to shape up, and they're not there yet. And if that stuff does improve, if it can improve, and if it does improve, then I'm like absolutely willing to play this game. I didn't have a great time with this demo. I didn't.
It's weird because when you do a demo, I even think back to that original Neo demo. When you do a demo for a game like it's in a new IP, not new IP, but like something that's brand new, you want to put your best foot forward. So you usually pick some kind of like backdrop that's really striking. And I don't know if this is gonna have like more interesting visually like levels or environments to explore. Maybe something more.
You mean? Are you wondering if it's all in this like castle-y type,
like grungy looking empty castle?
No, I don't know if I care because the level design's so bad. It's a lot of like just like knocked over pillars that are kind of steering you in the direct down a hallway path basically, and there might be a couple times where you knock down a shortcut or create a branching path, but like it's not like a satisfying kind of shortcut. It's just bad. Like it's not good, like the level design. And that's a big reason why Souls games are as good as they are, because of things like really intricate level design. And this does not have that. So
it looks like some fucking Kingdom Hearts Organization 13 fucking Persona Tartarus Castle vibes. It just kind of looks like very bland.
Oh yeah. It's rough. Yep. And you know, it's Organization 13 Robes is very much an inspiration here because it's fucking Nomura, man. He is terrible. He's bad. He doesn't create compelling worlds or characters or tell good stories. He's a terrible writer. It's awful. They should fucking get rid of him. I can't believe we live in a world where Nomura thrives and Matsuno is just gone. You know,
tell us
what
how
a
you really
fucking
feel, Brad.
embarrassment.
Matsuno's not gone. He's making good stuff, man.
Shut up. He doesn't even work for Square Enix, okay?
Dude, I don't know, man. That Final Fantasy Tactics Return to Ivalice was really cool.
Okay, well, how about if it was so cool, give him a project now, Square Enix, please. Give him Final Fantasy 17.
For the love of God.
Sure.
Well, the thing is,
someone brought up
dude, have him do another fucking raid series for 14. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing, though, is that he may not be making like singular games anymore, but instead he's been assigned to the biggest moneymaker that Square Enix has.
Assigned? Sure, whatever. It's still not,
fucking not working on.
He's
them
not creating original cool worlds and IPs and game ideas. Like he's not. It's not the same, but it's exciting, I guess, especially if you're a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics and other Ivalice games. But sure. Anyways, Nomura sucks. He should go to hell.
Oh my god, that escalated quickly.
That's a little harsh there.
Is it harsh?
You literally told somebody to go to hell.
Eternal damnation is about
himself?
As harsh as you can possibly get.
This guy makes Kingdom Hearts, and all of a sudden he has to go straight to hell. Okay,
oh my god, we are moving on.
I mean,
damn, Brad. Damn.
I play Kingdom Hearts. Eternal damnation.
No,
doesn't
let's
mean anything.
debate the worth of a man's life based on the video games.
No, the worth of a man's soul, not his life, his soul.
Oh, because that's better. Yeah.
All right. Was there anything else at Square Enix?
What is a man?
I mean, they announced that Final Fantasy 1 through 6 thing, but it's coming. It's only coming to Steam and mobile instead of Switch, which, when people started to realize that was a thing that wasn't happening, people got really sad, myself included.
Supposedly that is not a collection. It's individual titles you have to purchase separately.
Oh, of
that's
course.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's a little
embarrassing.
Upsetting.
It's fucking embarrassing. They continue to
prove that they can't be trusted with their own back catalog.
Their legacy. It's embarrassing and it's gross and they're stupid.
All right. So the only other there's some indie stuff we want to briefly mention, but real quick, I just want to go over the last major, I guess, publisher presentation. We haven't talked about it all yet, which was Ubisoft. Not a ton of new stuff to mention there. They showed Extraction for the first time since it was Rainbow Six Extraction. First time since they changed the name from, what was it before, Quarantine or something. Which honestly, this time I was looking at it, I was like, this actually looks like it could be fun. I still can't believe it's a Rainbow Six game because it does not feel like Rainbow Six to me at all. Because now it's like science fiction. But
in a year in which the most popular category of games that were revealed were co-op zombie-esque shooters, as far as population.
Are you talking about this year?
Yes. At E3. Like we got Redfall, we got Back 4 Blood. There were several other things like it. Like,
what about that bad?
This does not look good by comparison. If I had to choose one co-op game to purchase, right now I'm not leaning towards Rainbow.
Well,
Back 4 Blood.
I'm not even certain I'm leaning toward. I was leaning towards Back 4 Blood, but now I'm kind of leaning towards Redfall. Because it's different.
Did y'all see Anacrusis? I think it was on Microsoft. Anacrusis?
Yeah. That looks
Anacrusis? Sorry.
I don't know. It looks like it wants to be like No One Lives Forever, but like not good.
Yeah, No One Lives Forever.
Wait. The was that like the sci-fi weird like Art Deco sci-fi one? Not Art Deco, but Art Nouveau.
But then it got to the gameplay and it was just like 1,000 of the same looking enemy. And it was like, this looks like crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sold on Rainbow Six Extraction yet either, but it certainly looked more interesting to me this time than it did.
Guy though, are you?
I mean, I used
Chris
to
Davis.
be, but
no, Chris Davis.
Oh,
like you're not a Siege guy. You're not a Siege guy.
No. I have bounced hard off Siege.
Oh. Okay.
I remember last time I remember enjoying Rainbow Six a lot was Vegas 2, and that was mostly because of the terrorist hunt mode, which was honestly great. This is just such a departure. I don't know. I don't know if I can get on board for it yet. Let's see. We already talked about Mario plus Rabbids. So the only other real surprise, I guess, at Ubisoft, because they showed more Far Cry, which wasn't really gameplay centric either. They showed Rocksmith, usual Ubisoft fare, but they closed with Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Now, I know it induces eye rolls because Avatar is kind of like.
This made it into the thumbnail. I didn't watch y'all's Ubisoft coverage. Are you about to like pop an Avatar boner?
Brad,
a big blue boner.
No, I've not seen it. I've not even seen it.
Brad was too busy fighting with people in Discord today about things to realize that I had posted my top 10 games of the show on Twitter. I copied your hype thread thing. I'm just kidding. You weren't fighting me. You were very, very active today in Discord, But I tweeted my top 10 list kind of like you did, and I put Avatar on this list mostly because I know. I mean, the trailer is an engine and it looks beautiful. They didn't really show game. It's kind of like the Starfield situation, but a little more. They showed more than what you saw of Starfield. But to me, it's more about I like Ubisoft open world games, and I like big open worlds, and I like lush, vibrant, colorful worlds.
He loves foliage.
I love foliage. I love foliage. And by the way, and Avatar, I'm kind of like I could go either way on Avatar as like an IP.
Dude,
that movie,
you were sitting there during the conference going, "Man, should I watch Avatar again? I think we can watch Avatar again."
I'm still thinking about watching Avatar again because
it's a okay movie, right?
I watched it.
Like you missed something the first time. Like there's something deeper going on.
No. It's more of like I watched the first one and I actively enjoyed it. I more roll my eyes at like the thought of them making 4 more movies. I'm like, well, and mostly that they're announcing that they're making 4 instead of just doing the second one and then seeing how it goes and then 3. You're just like we're making
a new
4.
Avatar movie could have new things to say, and not
whatever
Pocahontas or whatever.
You're right, but I remember watching it and being like. That was
there was a second Pocahontas movie they could rip off.
I totally believe that James Cameron is a man with things to say anymore.
See, but I knew this was going to be an uphill battle. This is going to be an uphill battle.
I mean, no, Nick, I'm with you. I agree with you. I think this is a game to look forward to. I think the thing that kind of pitches it for me is that it's Massive Entertainment doing it, and they have made some really good games, and
they're
they
also
have a
the same
solid
team that's
track record.
They're the team that's being entrusted with the new open world Star Wars game as well. So like they apparently are putting a lot of eggs in the Massive Entertainment basket. But you know, the potential of this game is
that's what he's interested.
The potential the potential is exciting because the world of Pandora, right, is very vertical. And I'm picturing like like riding on the back of like flying creatures and jumping off of waterfalls and like doing all of that kind of free roam sounds really cool to me. And I remember liking the movie enough to be like, okay,
did you play that last
I'm into
Avatar
it.
game?
Well, didn't that come out back when that was kind of like in the era of like movie tie-in games where
Yeah.
About the Legend of Korra?
I thought it was like open world, right?
Was it?
I think
I mean,
so.
it was no, it wasn't open world. It was level based, and it was 10 years ago. So.
Yeah, it definitely was a different time. Like we live, I feel like we live in you know, where licenses are frequently now being given to bigger studios with bigger budgets to make bigger, more ambitious projects.
Sure.
And I'm not saying this is guaranteed to be that necessarily, but it looks
it's definitely
beautiful
something that could be a video game world.
Sure. My only also, real hesitation with this project is that the reports are coming in saying that it's a first person. It's not third person.
That could be it. I mean, but here's the thing.
You just want to look at blue Navi ass all day?
But I've been...
Well, no, I'm just thinking about like what comes with a third person perspective, where you have potentially vibrant platforming and world exploration, and
I mean, you can do all that in first person. Nothing says you can't do that in first person. And I think about it this way: like I've enjoyed a lot of Far Cry games that are all first person open world games, and I'm just thinking about.
I guess it's going to be a lot like Far Cry.
And I'm thinking like because you play as the Navi creatures, right? And they're like 9 feet tall. I'm envisioning being
scope doesn't matter when everything's 9 feet, Nick.
They have like normal butt cheeks, right? Or
yeah,
do they have like cat butt?
Yeah, no. They have a cat butt inside 2 butt cheeks.
Oh, okay.
What?
Trust me.
I mean, there's mech suits in that universe, so that's cool.
There are.
Okay, big hang on.
Knives.
There are the dumbest mech suits I've ever seen in that universe. But okay, go ahead. You're right. They are mechs, technically.
I mean, let's be real, Crispy. Aren't all mechs stupid?
Whoa!
I'm sorry. That was sorry.
You're just making a fool of yourself on the internet right now, Nicholas.
Here's the thing,
wow.
Nick.
That was an intentionally inflammatory statement.
Nothing against you and nothing against James Cameron, but I cannot disassociate like Avatar with the forum threads of people who are like, I can't live in this world anymore. If I can't live in the beautiful world of Avatar, I can't live in my own world. People were really on the ledge, man.
Yeah, but that hit really hard and went away really quickly. Like that was insane.
Oh, brilliant post though.
But
heroes of the web stuff for sure.
Hey, you know, Disney's got to start making back all that money they spent on Fox. So.
All right, so we've gotten through all the major conferences. Like I said, there's some smaller stuff from like the PC gaming show and the Indie Fest. Okay, maybe not so much the PC gaming show.
Lots
but
of cool.
Nolan, you had a list of some indie stuff.
I had a couple more we didn't cover. But yeah, we had earlier briefly mentioned Death's Door. That game looks really fun. Gives me Hades vibes. Has a cool art style. I'm interested to see more about that. The Wandering Village. Yeah, it does. The Wandering Village was another interesting one I saw. It was a very brief trailer, but it seemed like kind of city builder-esque, but a little more new. I don't know, different. It seems like the city you're building on is on like a moving giant beast of sorts, and you kind of the beast travels. So I'm kind of curious as to how that plays into the gameplay. Slime Rancher 2 looks really good. It looks like more Slime Rancher, which is exciting. And one of the most exciting things that we've still yet to talk about is I Expect You to Die 2. Holy shit.
The demo
super excited for that game. I love the first one.
There's a demo.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I love the first one. Super excited for more of it.
So
fantastic game.
That's what I think we could say about a lot of there was like so many indie games here, but we can actually play a lot of them in the next week or so because of the Steam Fest thing. So that's cool.
There Absolutely. Was at the Freedom Games presentation. There was something I thought you would like, Nolan. It's called Airborne Kingdom. It's another city builder, kind of like Frostpunk, but not nearly as oppressive, where you're building a city that flies through the sky. And you have to build out sections of it by a kind of grid structure and kind of do a lot of city planning that I think you would really like.
That one we've known a while we've known
never seen it
for a while,
so.
But I just want to shout out real quick. Like they showed some new Gloomwood footage at the PC gaming thing. I don't know if y'all saw that. It was like 5 minutes. So I guess if y'all watched, did y'all see it? Anyways,
well, I mean, maybe it wasn't memorable, I guess.
Well, I want to shout out one. Gloomwood's really cool if you haven't played that demo, but there's voice acting now and there's like, guard conversations and all that stuff's really good. But like they also have the Resident Evil 4 style inventory, but it's like real time and not, the wussy shit that they put in Resident Evil 8. So you actually got to like, you drop your suitcase and you're like moving the stuff around and turning things around in a grid like Resident Evil 4, but it's real time, which is cool. So I remain very excited for that game.
Cool.
Hope there's a new demo.
Any other smaller mentions?
There's so many. Hunt the Night I think looks really cool. Inscription looks really cool. It's from the Pony Island devs, which means
Inscription looks fucked, man. That looks crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is Inscription?
It's like the weird horror like card based game, but then it starts getting weirder and weirder, and
like
it was like FMV shit in there. Like it was insane.
I'll also say we got our first teaser trailer for Immortality, which is the new game from Sam Barlow. And while it's not, they're not gonna. So this game was hinted at early on, and if you look at the genre, I think in various places where they host this trailer or whatever, or like on Steam, Immortality is supposedly related to the horror genre. And if you know how his games work, you probably understand why the trailer doesn't want to come right out and tell you, hey, this might be horror related, but you could imagine how they get there if you've played one of his games, Nick.
Which game is this?
Immortality is the new game from the creator of Her Story and Telling Lies, Sam Barlow. And this one is like kind of old
that was
Hollywood
the one,
plus horror.
That was the one that was on Steam under like a code name or some shit, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it might have
been.
But the teaser is very short, but it's like I'm already excited to play this fucking thing because I've wanted these games to go in the direction of something a little more creepy, a little more horror. And
dude, even Telling Lies had some aspects that were pretty fucking edge of your seat, like suspenseful, like maybe less horror.
Well, I mean,
definitely suspense.
Those games are inherently very scary because you never know what you're going to stumble into, especially Telling Lies.
Let me just tell you, I installed Her Story the other night and went to start it because I was just like, I'm in the mood to just pick something off my backlog and go. And I installed it and I can't get it to fucking boot at all. And I looked it up on Steam forums. It's apparently a common issue. I don't know what the common thread is. It seems like it might be a Windows 10 thing. I'm not sure, but the only solution I could find on the forum threads was try switching to a different computer.
Did you?
Doesn't really help. I only have one computer, bro.
It's on your phone. You could play it on your phone.
I don't play it on your phone.
The last game that I had that I could play on my phone never happened, and y'all never stop giving me shit for it. I just don't play games on my phone.
Yeah, me either.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I mean, Her Story. Well, you'll see when you play it someday.
Well, I know, but like, what I'm talking about is that one. What's the fucking game with the fucking the creepy Yearwalk? Yeah. I had that installed, and it never
Her Story is literally just watching videos and
I know.
Into it. Okay.
I know what it is, but I'm just saying if it's on my phone, the chances of me actually booting it up at some point and playing it is just slim.
I understand that. Fair
enough. Two other games I'd like to mention real quick.
Okay.
One, they were both from Freedom also. One was called One Lonely Outpost. It's going to early access next year, but it looks like a higher fidelity Stardew Valley in space.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, so I mean that sounds pretty good. The other one I wanted to mention was called Neko Ghost Jump, and it looks, you know how in Fez, like how you're switching the perspective and rotating around. Imagine that you're doing that, but when you do that rotation, you're switching from a 2D plane to a 3D platformer. And
like
it
Crush.
Crush?
Crush.
I am unfamiliar with Crush.
Oh, okay.
Well,
it's one of those 2D, 3D flattening games or whatever. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
like
it
Super
looks really
Paper
good.
Mario.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah,
and you're a cat.
Good.
You're a cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah.
What is it? What? Sorry, what's the new one that you're talking about called? What's it called again?
Neko Ghost Jump.
Neko Ghost Jump.
It looks pretty cool, but I'm worried it might be a little jank, like the actual platforming.
Possibly. They did. I mean, it did win the indie showcase. So.
Oh, well, excuse me. Maybe it's incredibly dope.
You said you had two. What was the second one?
He said two.
That was the second one.
Yeah, the first one I mentioned was called One Lonely Outpost.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I'm still looking through. I'm going back through the recap site trying to find those right now. There's so many. You don't realize how many games were at E3 until you fucking look at this list. Holy shit.
Loot River continues to look cool. Loot River. They showed bad title. Cool game.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of
cool
demos
out though.
Is there a new Blood Rain coming that I fucking missed?
No, it's a physical version of that Way Forward game that came out on Xbox Live Arcade many years ago. It wasn't that good.
Gotcha. All right. Well, any other final mentions for E3?
WayForward is working on 4 fucking games.
WayForward's always working on 4 games.
Yeah, WayForward is one of those teams that's just always got their hands full.
Platinum games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one of the weirdest show in our history of going to E3, definitely. But still, a lot of stuff worth checking out. It's not, it may not be the most glamorous show this year or the most exciting, but man, there's certainly stuff. So again,
is this the part of the show where we shit on Capcom now?
Oh my God! Let me just tell you,
or Namco or 2K. I mean, look, there's a lot of bad, uneventful or whatever shows.
I know. You're right. But like, it's one.
A lot of people are probably just holding their place, trying to stay in the good graces of the ESA or whatever for next year.
You're right. But it's one of those things too, where it's like if you knew you were buying out time to do a presentation at E3. You have any number of, especially a studio like Capcom has any number of big games in the works. It's like you would think they would probably have, even if it's like a 10-second teaser for something that's super fucking exciting. You would think they would have at least something to kind of leave the show off, because that's the whole.
We know how forgiving the gamers are when something shows poorly.
I know, but it's dude. Let me tell you that first of all, I found out the Capcom presentation was only 25 minutes, about 5 minutes before the thing started, and then they start going through stuff. They get through like because they had mentioned 4 things that were going to be at their presentation. It was like Resident Evil Village update, 2 Monster Hunter games, and all the stuff, right? And we're like, okay, they've gone through it's been about 12 minutes, and they've cleared all the things that were on their list. So the rest of this must be surprises, right? And then they hit us with the dreaded, let's talk about esports.
They said they were going to end with that at the very start of their presentation.
Ooh, I know, but like I didn't
they
think
laid out everything on the table, just like Namco did. You can't win. These companies.
You can't win.
Hey, I know. I wanted to see Dragon's Dogma more than maybe anybody, but it wasn't there. Just wasn't time.
Hey, but here's why.
At least it wasn't the 2K.
You give Capcom a pass, but you wouldn't stop shitting on Microsoft for not showing all those games. What the fuck?
Because Microsoft has a lot to fucking prove. Capcom doesn't. Capcom just gave us Resident Evil 8. They just gave us Monster Hunter Rise, which are their 2 biggest games in years. Their Monster Hunter Stories 2 comes out next month. They're giving us shit. What does Microsoft give? How many Microsoft first-party games have they shipped since the launch of their new system? It's still 0.
Whatever. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's one of the it's a weird. Like, I am way more excited about Microsoft showing than Capcom showing. Capcom,
sure. I'm not saying sure.
I mean, the problem has been that Capcom year after year after year for like 4 years now with E3, they had just been like rock solid with the games that they show. They come out with Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 Remake. They do Monster Hunter World. And then they have this presentation, which is literally a collection of games that came out in Japan that never came out over here, an update for 2 games, and then a trailer for another Monster Hunter game, another fucking Monster Hunter game that
too many monsters.
It's oversaturated at this point. We're done.
It's oversaturated.
When we should be expecting
like,
things
Davis,
like
Monster Hunter's finally cool in the West. It's not oversaturated,
but it feels like it.
I'm not gonna go as far as to say it's oversaturated, but it was very disappointing to see they didn't at least tease one of the many projects.
After 2 decades, it's finally cool in the West. It's finally cool.
To be fair, Capcom hasn't officially announced Dragon's Dogma 2 or the Onimusha reboot. All that shit was stolen
this
from
was
them.
the place.
Microsoft, no. Microsoft did announce all those games that were absent. So
this was the place to do literally a fade in from a black screen with a piece of concept art and just flash the fucking title over the top.
That would have been fucking lame, though.
Dude,
that's literally what Nier Automata was at launch, and you were crying.
Oh, but that's a completely different situation.
No, it is not.
No, it's not.
We're talking about a sequel to a
Nier is not something that we knew was in development. The fact that Nier got a sequel developed by Platinum Games is like who the fuck would have ever saw this coming?
The only reason you know Dragon's Dogma exists is because of a fucking giant leak.
If
it wasn't for that, it would be the exact same situation.
But that's the thing. It was never like a sure thing. It's just a crapshoot. We know it's going to show up eventually.
Brad, I'm so exhausted trying to shit on Capcom while you shit on Microsoft, and we're both trying to defend the opposite.
Dude. The Capcom thing was tragically bad, but I'm not saying they should have shown Dragon's Dogma 2. I wanted to see it there. It's not like they announced it a year ago.
They should. If you want to keep people excited about your presence at E3, you should have at least.
If you want to get a Microsoft tattoo, you go ahead and get it, Nick.
Dude, fuck off. That is not what I'm talking about.
Chris Davis knows the guy.
Listen to the words coming out of my mouth, Brad.
Chris Davis knows a guy?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Crispy knows a guy.
Yeah,
Listen to the words coming out of my mouth right now, Brad.
Why are you even talking about Microsoft right now, though?
No, I'm talking about fucking Capcom, dude. You're talking about them doing this for the sole reason of staying in the good graces with the ESA, but you also need to stay in touch with the fucking audience that you're trying to market to, which is the people who are going to tune in for your press conferences next year. Do you think people are gonna be as excited about their presentation next year after this?
Yeah. But Nick, at least they talked about some games. Namco just had one game. 2K had a diversity panel.
I am just as
hey, there's a lot of people stoked for that Phoenix Wright game.
I'm just
but if you're talking about 3 Switch games and one splash screen saying we are now developing DLC for Resident Evil 7, check in later.
Yeah,
didn't they say that?
Come on.
Yes, that's what he's saying. All I'm saying is if you want to remain in the good graces of the ESA and get people excited to come back and watch your presentation next year, you should end with, even at the very least, what we talked about, very similar to what they did with Nier Automata. Just put some cool looking concept art up there, flash the fucking Dragon's Dogma logo up there, or Onimusha, or whatever the fuck it is,
Capcom,
and say 2023.
It made me really sad, but
you're missing.
They don't owe us Dragon's Dogma. It's not been officially announced.
I'm not gonna argue with you anymore. This is dumb. This is officially a dumb conversation.
I agree. It's dumb.
And you've made me you've made me feel like I've lost and I've wasted my breath the last.
I don't even think I'm disagreeing with you, Nick. That's why it's a dumb combo.
You're defending them when I feel like you should be just as angry at them.
I'm the most angry.
I am so confused right now. Okay, we need to move the fuck on. Let's wrap up with the 4-player minute, shall we?
Yes.
So, for the love of Jesus, Brad, give us your 4-player minute.
Okay,
you know how this works.
My hype is Capcom. They're a great company. I think they're number one. I think their press conference was amazing.
Fucking troll.
Also, I don't even care about Dragon's Dogma 2. I just want that new Phoenix Wright game.
Fuck off.
This fucking guy.
I wish I had a fucking eject button.
I can mute him.
I wasn't
Just
block
kick
out
him
his
out of here.
window.
For what
Kick
it's
him out
worth.
of here.
No, my real hype is for Tales of Arise, which was a game that was also part of E3, and it was on my list of hypes because they announced a new character who is a lady with a mace and an enormous tower shield. I guess she's a paladin type character. Anyways, a preview embargo lifted today, and there's been a lot of previews for Tales of Arise, and there's a lot of new footage out there, and a lot of people who were able to play as this new character, and it sounds really cool. While like a lot of the new systems are about kind of like dodging and capitalizing on dodges and combos, almost like Bayonetta style or whatever, she's all about like these shield counters and stuff. And it's like the first real tank character in a Telltale game. It just sounds fucking rad. I encourage you to track down one of those previews, look at the footage. I think it's gonna be pretty cool, and it's coming out in September. My shame, I have a shame this week. Shame slash sweat, whatever you want to call it. Maybe a fuck me for the week. Is Friday on my stream. I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna play this Yuffie DLC. Everyone's stoked about Yuffie. Everyone loves Final Fantasy VII and Yuffie, and I was playing it, and chat was like, whatever. Maybe a lot of people are just bitter because they don't have their PS5s yet and they want to get one. They can't play it because SquareEnix did this dumb fucking thing where only people with PS5s can play the Yuffie DLC. Well, whatever. I shut it the fuck off and played Monster Hunter World Iceborne because that's a good fucking game. And I started getting back into that. And that's not healthy. Also, that game is really hard. Rise kind of is like, feels. Rise made me forget how brutal Monster Hunter can be, especially post game. Iceborne is so nasty. Oh god, it's brutal, but like it was immediately amazing and addictive, and I miss it. It's such a great game. Fuck, but it's a shameful secret. I still need to get back to that Yuffie DLC. And my fuck you for this week goes to indie devs. Stop making indie games. There's too many indie games. Go make something else. Go write a book.
Please find jobs in other fields of work.
Yeah, go get a job at a factory, paint some pictures. I don't know. Stop making indie games. No one can keep up with this. This is insane. Oh my god. Oh, my thank you for this week is for Zalade reminding me about Metal Slug Tactics. I don't want to talk about it. It was at E3. Watch a trailer, but one of the cool things is that Steam is doing the Steam Fest thing where you can play a lot of the demos of a lot of these indie games that I just fucked off. Told indie devs to die or whatever I did. Anyways, one of those indie games is the demo for Rogue Lords, which is a game I have not tried yet, but it is the indie game that's also in development from this unknown indie dev that is making Metal Slug Tactics. So if you're curious whether maybe this unknown indie dev has the chops to handle something like Metal Slug Tactics, maybe check out Rogue Lords. You can download the demo on Steam now. And my final fuck you goes to Ninja Theory and Dante. I don't need to get into it now. But apparently the origins of that character were slightly homophobic. And
wait, which character?
Dante. Oh, sorry.
Dante.
New Dante.
Ninja Theory is Dante.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about it in Discord today, and they're really shitty. GDC panel where they were talking about the origins of that character, saying we want less this Brokeback Mountain and more of this Fight Club. There's a lot of like, hey, old Dante was gay, and we don't want that. It's really offensive. Really, really horrible.
When was
horrible
that talk?
Stuff. Oh, it's out there. We'll send you some links in Discord. It's brutal.
Oh God.
So yeah.
I mean that sounds like cringe. I can't watch that. I'll take your word for it. It sounds shitty.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah,
no.
bad. Anyways. Yeah. And
all right. Fuck off. Nolan, how about you go next?
All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is for I Expect You to Die 2. Excited for that demo, excited for that game. I really love the first one. Excited to bust out my VR again and play that. My sweat is for Final Fantasy Origins, Stranger of Paradise. Very worried about that game. Was pretty hyped when the leaks came out, but then after seeing what we saw, worried. My second hype is for Breath of the Wild 2. I really liked kind of the teaser we got out in that trailer. I'm excited to get back into that world, or this new world, I guess, and check that out. I know we got a little while for it, but and then my fuck you is actually going to go to Nintendo for Mario Party Superstars. I think it's pretty bullshit that they're taking all the problems with Super Mario Party on the Switch and fixing it and making a new game and making us pay another $60 for it.
Very snappy, Nolan. Thank you.
That's how I roll.
Crispy.
Okay, my hype for this week, I am going to give it to Inscription. I know I said that Trek to Yomi was best game and show earlier, but you know, I'll give it to both of them. They both look great. They both look right up my alley. Inscription especially looks like that fucking crazy Pony Island guy saw Hand of Fate and was like, hey, I bet I could make this fun.
Oh, yeah.
And that's crazy. That is crazy. My other hype is honestly, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but honestly, I am a little hyped that E3 is now beyond us.
Wow.
E3 is like, every year I'm feeling a little more and more like disillusioned with the circus of it all. And it's just like, I don't know. This is the part I want to be at, the part where we know everything. Not like while we're waiting for the fucking whatever dog and pony show these multi-million-dollar companies want to do to like release their information on their terms or whatever. I don't know. I just don't buy it. I don't fucking care. Now is the time where I can go back and go to like E3 recap and just like look at everything that's been announced and just enjoy it my own way and not necessarily have to feel like I'm, you know, supposed to cheer for the pleasure of being pitched a product to, you know. I don't know. I'm kind of fucking over E3. So I'm glad we're beyond it. My thank you for the week I'm going to give to the 4Player Network Free Company in Final Fantasy XIV. On Monday, we had a really great session where we did the entire Return to Ivalice raid. We had a full squad with us the whole time, 8 people. It was really, really fun, and everybody was very understanding and helpful, especially when I had to like sit through an hour of cutscenes through like each part. It was a lot of fun. It was really great. I really, really enjoyed it. I got fucking Agrius's sleeves, and I got Rams's boots. That was pretty cool. And my fuck you for the week goes to Sony because Chris Davis pinged me earlier with the Wario tweet that was like, "Hey, we're gonna start selling PS5s in an hour. Get in line." And I fucking did it. Got online. I like psyched myself up. I was like, can I afford this? And I was kind of like, yeah, I can afford this. I can do this. This is good. And I was like really kind of getting nervous. And I was sitting in that line, waiting, thinking like, oh my god, I might actually just buy a PS5. I had completely just put that out of my mind. You know, I wasn't thinking about PS5s. And then today I was. I made the mistake of getting excited. Hope is a poison.
Did you buy a PS5?
I didn't, because when it got to my turn, they were already sold out.
That's the struggle is real.
So really, fuck Chris Davis, I guess.
Oh, of course.
All right, thank you, Chris Davis.
Speaking
your
of
retort,
my retort is I tried to help.
You did, and I do appreciate that. I would have had no idea without your ping. So, thank you, Chris. My
it's happened to me like 3 times with 3080s.
My thank you is to Chris.
You're welcome. My first type this week is for one of the games I was showing at E3, Planet of Lana. It looks like a kind of hand-painted kind of limbo or inside game where you're on this alien planet with your pet animal thing that I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden, like, the world is invaded by alien robots, and it looks really cool, and I really want to play that. My second hype is for Stalker 2. They did a extended kind of developer walkthrough of their E3 trailer today at a Microsoft event, and what they're talking about, like how you'll see old locations from the previous Stalker games, how they're leveraging the technology and improving the combat. Like, one of the things people aren't really pointing out is that in one of those combat sequences in which he puts on a magnification sight on a weapon, the game doesn't do the fucking zoom in and just shows everything. It's your same perspective, but the lens is zoomed in. You know, like how it is in fucking real life with lenses.
So you're actually having to like look
real
through
life.
the.
You mean the Silent Scope arcade game? Shit was tight.
God, I would love a new Silent Scope. That'd be great. But yeah, Stalker 2, like, fucking pumped for that. My third hype is for a non-E3 game, Plague Tale Innocence. I started that today because of the Plague Tale sequel announcement. And then I almost immediately stopped it because there is a next-gen upgrade that's coming for free in 3 weeks. So I'm just going to wait.
Voice acting in the game is pretty good, huh?
That's what I mean. The opening chapters were pretty decent.
Yeah.
And my preconceived notion of that game, the reason why I didn't play it when it came out was mainly because I kind of misunderstood what the game was. I thought it was just going to be a period piece where you're avoiding the Knights Templar and there just happens to be a bunch of rats. But there's that opening chapter like pitches a fantastical aspect to it that I am really intrigued to find out about now. So
get ready.
I intend to play that as well, probably before this new one comes out.
And my fuck you this week goes to the ESA. You know, the ESA every E3 they have a judges week where they have people, you know, professionals come in and they evaluate a lot of potential games that ought to receive awards. And the game they put out a press release for Tuesday announcing their most anticipated game of E3 was Forza Horizon 5. And I don't believe that bullshit for a second.
Okay, couple things to clarify here.
Like
there was couple things to clarify here. There was no Judges Week this year.
Exactly.
And what that was announcing was they did that E3 awards show at the end. I didn't watch it, but I think that was where like Greg Miller was hosting it or whatever. And I don't know who determined what the winner of that was, but yeah, Forza was apparently.
Wait. I refuse to believe it. Wait. What the hell's wrong with Forza Horizon 5? Also, they actually showed that game.
But they showed off a shit ton of other games that look more interesting than another fucking Forza racing game.
Dude, those games are beloved and very critically acclaimed.
Forza's on Xbox.
The last Forza Horizon game is at a 92 on Metacritic. People love those fucking games.
Okay, real quick. There's a couple things you got to remember. One, Elden Ring was not part of E3. Two, what Brad said, even though it's not really our bag and we don't really talk about racing games here much or anything like that, they do have a tremendous audience. So it's not necessarily surprising.
Also, Forza Horizon are open world, like arcadey style. I mean, it's not like a racing sim. You don't have to be into racing games.
You don't have to pitch
Forza
me
Horizon.
on how good the Forza series is. I understand that.
Horizon.
I'm just saying, when you compare Forza against the whatever the fuck it's called.
Forza is what it's called.
Whatever the fuck it's called. When you compare that racing game against all the other shit that was shown at E3, you pick that.
But they always do this. They pick games that actually show gameplay of people playing a game. HUD, a fucking video game. And we saw a lot of cinematic trailers. We saw a lot of teases. We saw a lot of like chopped together gameplay. I know you wanted Stalker 2 to win. I thought Stalker 2 looked great. I admit it. Nick admitted it. Look, they actually played Forza. You know, they showed a bunch of it.
And also, if this is one of those things where I honestly don't know how this works. This is the first time they've done this, but like, if this was like a thing where like the audience at home votes, I could absolutely understand how Forza would win. I don't think that's the case.
The vote was rigged.
I don't think it was rigged. Is probably the wrong word.
Critics love Forza Horizon. Look at Metacritic.
I understand.
In Forza, every cactus they render 20,000 needles on them. Wow, it is there. It is high quality.
Some people stop their car. Some people stop their car.
All
You
right,
run over that cactus.
let me do my 4-player minute here real quick, okay? I'm a pretty positive person. I love E3, unlike some of you chumps. Even though,
Okay.
I'm waiting for
Okay.
the other shoe to
I like
drop.
E3.
but let me get to it. Let me get to it. This is the week after E3. Normally, this would be like all hypes for me, and I have some hypes. I have quite a few hypes. I'm very excited for the next year in games. But I have 3 fuck yous and a thank you this week. My first fuck you, and perhaps the most important one, goes to Blue Box. I think it's Blue Box Studios / Chris Davis. Blue Box. Okay, Blue Box Studio is the team that quietly kind of announced this like photorealistic horror game where you're lost in the woods, and it was called Abandoned, and it was announced like 3 months ago or something. Well, they tweeted the other day, and Chris Davis brought this to my attention, that they tweeted, "We're going to make an announcement soon. Guess the name of the game. It starts with S, ends in L."
Yeah.
And the internet lost their shit because everybody's like, "Oh my god, is this Silent Hill? Oh my god!" And then moments after Chris Davis tells me this, I start to hyperventilate. Right, like 2 minutes after I start to hyperventilate, they issue a public apology saying, "We didn't realize this was." We didn't see what you saw. This is not Silent Hill. Konami owns Silent Hill. We have no affiliation with Konami at all. Blah blah blah. So
We didn't see what you saw. Shut the fuck
yeah.
up.
But the other part of this is that which is also kind of similarly exciting. Like this is now becoming like a full blown like conspiracy theory. There's Jason Schreier's even feeding into this about like maybe this is Kojima, because they're tweeting a lot in the past week, building up to this announcement like it's going to be a big fucking deal. And I just feel like it's one of those when you have a
big
game
deal for them, I'm sure.
The thing is, Kojima has talked about doing a horror game next, and that was very Kojima-esque, where it's like no details, just weird, like lost in the woods, right? And it's kind of like this feels like the Moby Dick Phantom Pain switcheroo thing a little bit. I don't know.
Oh
but,
God, guys, Nick's going all QAnon on us.
I know. But you know what? Fuck me for even entertaining that notion. My second fuck you goes to Capcom. For that horrendous showing at E3. Like, come on, guys, come on. I would have forgiven all of that esports talk with just a fucking black screen with the fucking logo saying, "Hey, Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming in 2025."
I don't Dragon's Dogma.
Onimusha was honestly what I was hoping for more than Dragon's Dogma, but I would have happily taken either one.
The only 2 games I finished this year are from Capcom, so at least they're making games.
My third fuck you goes to E3, mostly because of the way they fucking handled this event. Like the day of, like we had all of our kind of plans to like co-stream the event and commentate and everything, and then like the day of, they were like, "Hey, by the way, you don't co-stream this." And it's like, you're kidding me? After a year of like people living indoors, being, quarantining, and we're doing an all digital event for the first time in 2 years, and instead of like trying to facilitate the sense of community and like getting people excited about the industry again, you're like saying don't co-stream this on the day of the fucking event. Like you could have told us this like 3 weeks ago.
They're out of their fucking minds though. This is the same company that tried to ban Smash Brothers from being at tournaments or whatever.
They're not.
But also, fuck Nintendo, because Nintendo on the day of the fucking Nintendo Direct.
I thought you were talking about Nintendo.
No, I was talking about E3 in general. Like we had to do all of our commentating through Twitch Gaming. Oh my god, not now, Maggie.
Maggie!
Through Twitch Gaming, which means they took out all the licensed music. Oh my god, please stop.
Maggie!
It was pretty bad. Finish, Nick. You're almost there.
I know, sorry. And my thank you of the week goes to Mr. Greentoast, who, upon discovering that I had never played Her Story or Telling Lies, gifted me Her Story on Steam. Yeah. And that's why I was very excited to.
You sure it's not fuck you because he gifted you a game you can't play?
Well, he didn't know that.
Hey, I mean, it's my thank you for the week is Nick, because he's not going to give up on Her Story. He's going to figure out a way to make it work and play it.
Yeah, I'm gonna build a new PC.
Do that,
but yeah, imagine that being the game I build a new PC for.
Go play it on Robin's
Her Story
computer. Or just,
dude, she
you
has
don't got a laptop lying around there.
She has a work laptop that has literally is locked down, so she can't access anything other than work related stuff on it.
Lots of people make their first video game that they play on a new PC the most hypest, most graphical shit possible,
right?
test out their system.
Crisis.
Some enthusiasts choose to do Crisis because they're weird like that, and Nick is doing Her Story.
Also, not really the case, but I am actively trying to get a 3080, mostly because I really don't want to go back to Red Dead Redemption 2 until I get that. That's my 4-player minute. Don't get me wrong, though. I am very excited. If you don't believe me, check out my Twitter. I posted my top 10 games of the show, and there's quite a few honorable mentions I would have liked to include there as well. So, real quick, before we close this out, I just want to give a last update. We had a bingo card this year, and I want to get your opinion, because we are very close to getting a bingo in 2 ways, right? So, unless I missed something, was there a sequel announced to a crazy obscure game that few people remember?
A sequel announced
Advance
to
Wars.
How about Advance Wars?
No, a sequel.
Not a
sequel announced to a crazy obscure game that few people remember.
Metroid Dread.
Ooh,
But that's not.
I mean,
that's not obscure. That's a Metroid.
That's an unexpected sequel announcement, but that's
Elex 2.
But there's some kid out there that's like, what, from Smash Brothers?
Elex 2 got announced.
What is Elex 2?
Elex fuck.
I have heard of Elex.
All right, so
Elex is basically gothic with like sci-fi and jetpacks.
Okay.
I famously was doing one of my Bradcam videos at E3 years ago when Elex 1 was there, and I was just like, pointing the camera at things and like doing like witty quips and then moving on. And I do that like, Elex, this is crazy. And like the devs start to walk around to come talk to me. Hey man, what's going on? You gonna play the game? And I just kept walking because I was doing my Bradcam silly stuff. And I looked back at him and he was so fucking pissed off. He was like, fuck that guy.
I don't blame him. So we got a bingo. If that's the case, we got a bingo. And the bingos were, just to give you we got Ubisoft announces a Nintendo property plus Rabbids game. So Mario plus Rabbids. A sequel is announced to a crazy obscure game that few people remember, Elex 2. Podcaster utters, goddamn, that's a bad name for a video game. I think we all had that reaction to Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Mm-hmm. One of Brad's gaming dreams is mercilessly destroyed in front of his eyes while the rest of the game media celebrates. That's a little bit of a stretch. It was mostly Brad was very, very excited for this Final Fantasy Neo game, and
I was very excited.
Yeah,
that was probably my most.
Put that to Metroid Dread as well.
Are people rejoicing?
I mean, it's more. It's more
not.
like no. Here's the thing. Look, I added a lot of
the
fluff
bingo
to these.
is Metroid. Nintendo has officially given the reins to Mercury Steam. Everyone else is acting like that's great fucking news.
Do you not remember that scream of despair during the Nintendo presentation?
Okay, either way, I'll take either one of those as arguments.
I think Metroid's the better one.
But I feel like Brad was more positive than usual about because Metroid looked. People are excited about Metroid.
And he was talking
because
mad
Advance
shit.
Wars changed his life. He experienced E3 whiplash.
That is true. That is very, very true. And the last square that we got on our bingo was a new E3 cringe meme is born, and that was the Final Fantasy Origins Chaos.
You should rewatch that trailer. It is insane.
I will.
It's insane how much he says that. I'm here to kill chaos.
It's impressive. We almost got a bingo the other diagonally too. But we got a bingo without even needing the free square in the middle. So,
oh man. It just doesn't feel like cringe if there's an actual human suffering behind it,
I don't think we got the center square though.
The center square, which was the show comes to an end and the disappointment sets in.
The center square should be free. It's bingo.
The center square is bingo.
The center square is free.
The center
space.
square should never have something in it. It's always a free space.
I see. Fine.
Guys, y'all need to say these. Speak up when these things.
You've never played bingo.
I mean,
speak up.
The point is, I put something there that was obviously going to happen, so it was just for fun.
Okay.
It's
so Nick, the center square is Forza.
Forza, like pizza.
All right, guys.
Forza.
I think that's gonna.
No. Before you close the show,
roll the R.
Davis has to say it one time properly.
Roll the R. Hard Z.
Are we? So do we? Are we gonna? Do we win anything for getting a bingo? Are we going to do anything?
He just steamrolled over that.
Forza.
I think they want you to say Forza.
Forza.
There we go.
That was better.
Il Forza.
Forza.
That's all you get.
Forza and
It's molto bene.
Like pizza.
Oh my. I feel like we're borderline offensive right now, so we need to wrap it up, guys. That's going to bring our show to an end.
He offended the Italian people long before we did.
Yeah, right. We were making amends to our Italian brothers and sisters.
That's going to do it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening.
We
record these shows every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or sorry, Central. I learned this week from Nolan that it's what is it? Central Daylight Savings Time.
It's currently Central Daylight Time.
I never knew there was a CDT versus a CST, and we're apparently in CDT right now. So
I didn't know that either.
8 p.m. Central Time is what I'm going to go with now. But you can also find us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. Hang out, come talk about video games, come talk about movies, shows, nerd shit, anything you want. We'll hang out, we'll talk, we'll be friends, it'll be good. And of course, if you want to support us financially, go to patreon.com/4player. But until next week, we'll get back kind of on the track doing usual show. We'll get through some impressions. We'll talk about Ratchet and Clank next week, among other things. So, and also a bunch of demos that we're probably going to play before our next show. So look out for that. But in the meantime, be safe out there, play video games, enjoy life, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye.
Forza.
Forza. Forza.
Forza.